everybody. Welcome to another live commentary. Tonight we've got a big panel for the last movie you would expect to see this many of us on. Tonight we're going to watch The Lost World Jurassic Park, continuing a series that Austin and I started like 3 years ago. And joining us this evening, besides just Austin, is someone who has survived. It's Robert!
Oh my god, I did.
And also, it's John, the ultimate human.
Oh,
How are you guys doing? It's so great to have you on for the most boringest of the Jurassic Park movies, according to me and Austin. So you'll notice, if
I don't agree.
You'll notice everybody watching at home, and welcome. Thanks for being here live. Thanks for watching this after the fact if you're doing that. You'll notice the way I have the boxes arranged this evening. I've got the correct people on the left side, and I have the incorrect people on the right side. And we're going to duke it out this evening, watching through and fighting each other on The Lost World. The guys to the right really like this movie, and the guys to the left have sanity.
are correct.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's about right.
The timing worked out. We're here for to celebrate the 28th anniversary of this.
We are 28 years later.
Yes,
that is a fact.
I'm very excited for that movie, by the way.
Oh,
Some of you guys have to come on
good.
and talk to me about that when it comes out. I hope it's great.
Take your kids.
There were kids next to me to see Warfare, or behind me, so Alex Garland's really entertaining the kids this year.
John, do you have a Jurassic Park shirt on?
No, it's
My favorite thing though is he looked down. That's wonderful.
It's like a trick question.
Yeah, I just like out of instinct, I was like, wait a
Because
minute.
we've also arranged this the other direction by people that dressed accordingly and people who didn't. Because Robert and I on the top here have our Jurassic Park shirts, and on the bottom, these guys can't see me just because of the way I've got this arranged. But I have my Clever Girl Raptor shirt on right now. And
I have Smormu, who has his "I'm with her" shirt on, and the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are in fact female.
But only in the first one. There's males in this.
Yeah, but there are still females, so he's just with those ones.
That's true. But you made it sound like all of them, Austin, and that's a major plot point. They've changed that because they can change sex now. Some of them change. Now the question is, did some of them change sex in the first movie with the whole frog DNA thing one time, or can they keep flipping? I've always wondered that.
I don't know. I think the former sounds more realistic, but I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Yes, but how much do you want it to be that they can just keep flipping it? Because it's funny if nothing else, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just imagining just like on a whim, like maybe it has to
They're
do
like
with
the Sneetches. They just keep going back and forth.
Maybe it has to do with how much lysine is in their body. Anyway, we'll talk about that. So, the Lost
do
World.
sex change in herds.
So I find this to be a like deeply like uneven experience, and it never sticks with me super well besides a couple of like big key action scenes in the theater when I saw this that I'm still pretty nostalgic for. I have, I never thought about it like this. I have kind of a Batman Returns thing with this. Kind of. Where when I was a kid, I even at whatever age I was when that came out, like 8 or 9, seeing that in the theater, you'd think I'd be like, oh, it's Batman, so it's great, but like I wasn't sure about it back then. I thought it was odd and it wasn't what I wanted, and it was oddly disturbing. This I didn't find disturbing. I just thought it was kind of boring. But I went to this in '97. And was a little disappointed with it, but there are those scenes that I thought were really gripping and exciting, and have stuck with me. Particularly we'll talk about this, but the trailer, like dropping around everybody. Like I don't know. I think this is a dull movie, really competently made, and so every time I go back to it, I'm kind of expecting to finally enjoy it more. And like I said, it just doesn't stick with me. Like I watched this because we were supposed to do this last week, and I watched this in preparation last week, and I wish I had watched it again today or yesterday, because I don't right away even know what all I'm gonna want to say about it because it's not sticking with me very well, and I always have that when I watch this.
Did you have any of the merchandise from it, like any of the toys? Because this movie, it's pretty cool merchandise back in the day.
You know, weirdly, I didn't have Jurassic Park toys.
I got a couple of like hand-me-downs, like from my older brother. So I had like a Raptor action figure and an Ian Malcolm
cool.
with the missing arm, but it's fine.
I had some Disney's dinosaur action figures. That's the closest I ever had.
It's some merchandise for that movie too.
I never had the Love Monkey though, so that's tragic.
Oh.
Yeah, as big of a Jurassic Park fan as I am now, I always want to start collecting it, and I'm like, I just don't have the space for another big collection, and so I never do. Like, I've got a few things, but I never like really delve into it. And they've done re-releases for the old Jurassic Park figures, just like they have for Ninja Turtles, and I've been tempted by a lot of that, and like I would love to get into that, but I don't know if I ever will. Anyway, let's go ahead and start watching this, and I'm excited to listen to Robert and John defend themselves. No, I'm kidding. But I'm curious to see why these guys enjoy this movie as much as they do, and we'll talk background with this a little bit and how it wound up the way it did. And Austin will either cry, scream, or sleep. One of those three things.
I think it's gonna be sleep. It's definitely gonna be sleep.
That's
I'm
fine.
already tired. I'm in a rough spot to be starting this movie.
Well, see, that's hilarious to me, Austin, because the joke is on you with that, because you actually watched this and prepped for it. And it would be really funny if 20 minutes in, you slept through the rest of it. After prepping
That would be
for
beautiful.
It would be
That would
really
be beautiful. There was like halfway through the movie, I was like, could I turn this off and just get away with not prepping? I should probably do it. Oh well.
Dan's Den says, I'm gonna swear here because a Disney dinosaur was the shit for me back in 2000. It's really funny.
It had a great
Loved that movie
trailer.
when it came out.
I saw that trailer a million times.
I've seen it
Growing
one
up.
time.
I just remember being a kid and being like, why is there no T-Rex in this movie? When are they going to get to the fireworks factory? Ugh, man.
Well, you guys ready to watch it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
let's
ready.
do it. Everybody get your Blu-ray, your DVD streaming. This is not streaming anywhere really readily right now, except for a couple places with commercials. But you can rent it on Amazon if you don't have a copy for around $4. And get it to timestamp 0. Get ready to press play when I say now, and I'm just about to do that. This movie is just over 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes long. I'm gonna put the clock up so that you can sync up with us. If you come in later, you'll lose us for some reason. I always remember this being longer. I always think this movie is 225, 220, 225, but it's just over 2. But it feels longer.
It does feel longer than the Snyder Cut, to be fair.
It doesn't. Everybody get ready for hyperbolicness. Hyperbole. As it, I like hyperbole.
What do you mean? I was underselling that.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
You earlier called this.
Sorry.
Letters
you-
of silver and gold. Sorry, Robert, go ahead.
Earlier, you referred to this as the most boring Jurassic Park movie. I don't know if you could say that when Dominion exists.
Dominion's not boring. Dominion's painful. That's a whole other level of I don't want to have to watch this. Like I'm not.
I think Dominion is just boring.
I'm not
I
cringing.
also don't find Jurassic House as funny bad as you do. I find that movie kind of boring.
Oh, that's fair. No, nobody.
Five and
has
6
an idea
are
of Jurassic
boring. I don't. I'd have to rewatch them. I don't. Offhand, I could go either way on which one's more boring out of them.
Every time I watch this, I think there's something wrong with my screen.
There is. It's
Cap, you
playing
mentioned that you
Jurassic
saw
Park:
this-
The Lost World, Cap.
That's 10 minutes. That's 10 seconds of black with no sound.
So, Cap, you mentioned that you saw this in theaters. I also saw this in theaters, but as a kid, and then I got this VHS for Christmas or a birthday one year. So like I watched this a lot, maybe even more so than the first one for a while. So I will admit, part of my love for this movie is it's very nostalgic.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
But this is one of the first movies. This and the Power Rangers movies are some of the Power Ranger movie are some of the first movies that I remember actually going to a theater for.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because Power Rangers was 95 and this was 97. I love the quote from Spielberg where he goes there's a making of featurette or actually it's kind of lengthy. It's like 55 minutes. That was on one of the discs for this where he goes, I've always wanted to make a sequel to Jurassic Park. I'm like, the movie came out 4 years after the first one, and you were developing it 2 years before. You always wanted. You started working on it almost immediately after the first one.
We had to wait because he also had to pressure Crichton into writing a sequel, Cap. Even though he already had ideas for a sequel.
Yes.
So we could have just done it, but
Okay,
he was an asshole
I
about
was
it.
going to ask you about that. How true is it that he pressured Crichton? Because what I've read is the fans were begging and begging and begging Crichton to write a novel, and he decided to, and Spielberg and Cap were already working on ideas for a sequel, and then when Crichton wrote one, like they were already pretty far into a lot of the things they wanted to put in this movie, and they were waiting for him to publish it. And then when it came out, they started incorporating stuff from it. But I cannot figure out how true, because I'd always heard that too. I can't figure out how true.
I've always heard it was the studio,
that he was pressured by anybody but the fans to write it. Now that could have just been spin from Crichton trying to be nice to people he's having to work with, but yeah. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually I believe is the opening of the first book.
It is. And it's really surreal to see it after the whole first movie.
Yeah. No, I think it was
when I read the book, I was really confused why the book was starting with the beginning of the Lost World.
No, I think it was a great choice though to use that scene for this opening. I love this opening. The for the copies are really cool. I like how the tension builds here. Then the payoff's amazing. I love this opening scene. And it's more indicative of what the rest of the movie should be.
Yes.
That isn't, it's people finding out about dinosaurs and coming here trying to exploit them. There's a lot of ideas and pieces of this movie I like that I don't think are fully developed.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there, Robert. And that's one of the things that's frustrating about it with me. Like on paper, a lot of these individual ideas all sound like good things to put in a Jurassic Park sequel. If you're gonna do that, I don't feel like it adds up to anything. I do like the yawn with
that's
it is very telling
in movies ever.
It is very telling that our main character is introduced yawning in this film. That is a fun edit, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great edit.
That is the peak of the movie. It's all downhill from here.
One of the background extras, I think it's that guy just standing there next to where he's sitting, is Eli Roth, who's a big director now.
Oh, that is Eli Roth.
Oh, that's crazy.
So
wild.
Weird.
I hope it's his character from Inglourious Bastards. He just survived to now, even though that doesn't make sense.
So Kep claims that the point of this movie is supposed to be simply survival, and that they already said everything they really had to say about the playing God philosophy and evolution and everything with the first movie, and so this would be, and this is what Spielberg really wanted to make, that it would be just okay, you have kind of a cool what if statement that you can play with now that you've established dinosaurs. You use the first movie to give you this premise, and now there's a place on Earth that has them. And so you just drop some people in the midst of that, and there's no park or electric fences or anything. This is the actor who played Alfred in the Birds of Prey TV show.
I was just gonna say, is that Ian Abercrombie?
That's Ian Abercrombie, yeah. Who's an actor I like a lot. He was in
he voices he voices Palpatine in the Clone Wars cartoon.
Oh, does he really?
Great.
Yeah, he was a big TV character actor. Kind of crazy to see him here. And this is probably technically the first thing I ever saw him in.
I do think with what you were saying though, Cap, that kind of just is the issue with the movie. Is
Yeah.
they rushed in to make a sequel and then quickly realized, oh, we have nothing else to say.
Well, yeah, except I think it tries to actually do too much with the philosophy. I think it would be a cooler movie if it was more of what they said they were trying to make. Like I think it gets bogged down too much. And again, these are individually ideas that could be interesting if they were brought to the fore, and that's what the movie was about. But I think they're kind of at loggerheads with the survival thing. All of the stuff about like ownership and do the dinosaurs count as beings of like natural beings that should be allowed to just make their own way and like evolve as a species and all of that. I think that gets in the way of what should kind of be more of an understated kind of monster movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should also probably mention the like kind of elephant of the room with Spielberg in this, in that he like literally phoned in directing. I think like his kid got sick or something during production, and like he was offset through most of this.
That is not what I've read. I read that.
Yeah,
Is that not?
No,
Uh,
I read that he.
It's been a while since I've looked into the making of this, so like
Yeah,
it might just be faulty
he
memory.
had some kind of previous family commitment for like a week, and
Okay.
he and I can't remember who it was. The a producer or the writer or somebody came into for and it was really early in the movie too. I
Okay.
came in and directed a week of it, and he was like on call and watching it remotely and helping out that way. But it wasn't for very long. Now,
Okay, I knew he did the remotely thing, but I thought it was longer. Like I said, it's been a long time.
it is true that
I
he got
still
really
looked into this.
it is true that he got really disenfranchised with the project and he lost interest in it. That's true.
he may have
Yeah.
also started work on Amistad during the making of this, and was like, oh, well, now I'm more interested in that because both these movies came out the same year, I think. So that could have also been a factor.
I
There
get the
was no
sense he could,
Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year situation.
I
Mhm.
get the sense that halfway through he could just tell it wasn't working.
Yeah, which you also really feel in Crystal Skull. But I really love though where we start with Ian Malcolm as a character in this. That he's the one who went public with what happened in the first movie and kind of tanked his reputation because nobody believes him about crazy monster dinosaurs. So where we start with Ian Malcolm, I really like, and I think Jeff Goldblum's great in this. So whenever he's on screen, I'm personally having a good time. That's part of why I don't find it as boring as you guys do.
I think he's
I
got
didn't
some
like
fun.
his kind of cynical outlook on things.
He's still the voice of reason. Like that's the essence of that character.
He's got some fun sarcastic zingers here and there. I do feel like he's genericified a little bit. I feel like he's playing
That's what I have.
a slightly different character. I feel like his point of view is not altogether different, but instead of having being the same kind of voice of reason, the speaking for uh, the like chaos view of science and responsibility to nature like he is in the first movie. Here he feels like a generic holdover in an obligatory sequel that survived the first movie and has to generically run around and tell everybody how dangerous things are because he was there last time, and pointing out really obvious things that anybody in that situation would be able to tell even if they weren't there last time. Like, yeah, it's dinosaurs. They're dangerous. I don't know why we need you here.
It's also that thing where he worked really well as a supporting role, and I don't think he works as a lead, and that's part of why we have to like kind of reinvent him to a degree.
Now, I will push back on that, Austin, and say he could. He just needs a more like focused direction of the script. He needs more to do. I think Goldblum could with this character could maybe do the heavy
No,
lifting.
possibly, but like I feel like that's what's happening here is that they got into writing him and went, oh, like we got to make him more leading man guy.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's movie Picard.
Yeah, I've just never read it that way. I like that he's a bit more somber and jaded. Like that just makes sense to me. After what he went through in the first movie, like I get where you're coming from. I don't know. I've always liked him. I've always liked his performance. Like I'm not making the same mistakes again. No, you're making all new ones.
No, that's good.
like, and it's so you guys probably know exactly what happened here. So infamously, of course, Ian Malcolm was actually killed in the first book, with you talking about him surviving, but then it's retconned for him to be the protagonist in the second book. Is that because Jeff Goldblum was so popular in the movie? Like, is that why that happens?
Well, I had always heard it was because they wanted to use him in the movie, and like Austin was saying, Spielberg kind of coaxed him into writing a sequel, and so he was stuck with that. But I can't find any evidence. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, that's not the story.
That's always been my assumption, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I always saw this as more of like a Spielberg Temple of Doom situation. Like, make a sequel, whatever. Like, I never felt like he was that passionate or like pushy about it. He was just like, okay, yeah, I'll do another one. And he also needed a break, he needed, after getting burnt out on Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, he did take a couple years off from directing.
I also don't know why he would need Crichton, except maybe he thinks that it gives the movie more credibility, because he came out of the first movie saying, and this is not what they made, that if we ever do a sequel, it will have something to do with like a canister of DNA left over from the first movie, and like he already had ideas for like what this would be.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the big part of the story, because he put that in the first movie as a potential sequel tease. So, and then was like, oh, we went in a different direction. Okay, so I just never got the vibe that he really, honestly, had that much input on this story.
I think one of the biggest mistakes with this, maybe, and it's not anybody's fault really, because Richard Attenborough, as far as I understand, was not in great physical health, and we're seeing that on the screen. I don't think that's just the character. I think that was the actor, and he died shortly after this, I think.
No, over 10 years later.
Oh, was it really? Okay, I forgot. I thought it was
like
a few years after this.
Doesn't he do?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No, what were you gonna say, Robert?
Well, I was just gonna say he lived to like 90, but I also don't know what shape he was in the last several years of his life. But
well, I was gonna
he's
say
in
he
his
did
70s here.
Voice work for that Trespasser game, and I can't remember if he does voice work for the third movie. Part of me thinks, doesn't he have a cameo in that? Or am I wrong?
I think he does have a little.
He doesn't. But he doesn't have a cameo in the third movie. I always expect him to, because there's that weird shot of like the guy on the island at the end.
I just like assumed. Well, not that, but I assumed it was like him talking, maybe like on TV or something. But okay.
But yeah, that's the end of this movie.
But yeah, I
desperately. That's why I'm mixing it up.
I desperately want him to have a larger part in this movie, and I appreciate that this scene is allowed to be as long as it is, because I think Hammond, seeming to simultaneously learn from his mistakes last movie and has also learned nothing, I think is really interesting. I like the idea that he's trying to make the island a nature preserve, and he's like totally against the commercialism that they did in the first movie, but really only because it didn't work out, and he's just trying to, it feels like get his reputation back. I think he wants to be coming from the right place, but I don't think he quite is, because of the way he's manipulating people. I really like all of that, and I kind of wish we could do we could have him involved like he was last movie.
That's kind of
he has a character arc where he realizes he's actually the exact same person he was the last movie, and he's just pivoted his obsession. Sorry, go ahead, Austin.
Hey, actually, sorry, I'll let Austin go first.
I was just gonna say that's the flaw with the franchise, right? Like every sequel has to be like, okay, here is our Hammond, because we can't have Hammond. And then this one, it's kind of in the middle where we do have him, but just for a cameo.
But what Cap was just talking about, how this movie handles John Hammond, it's like what we tried to do with Bryce Bryce Dallas Howard's character in the first 2 Jurassic World movies, where she becomes a completely different character.
You're right.
In a sequel with different motives, and it's handled horribly.
Yep.
Like she just becomes a different person between movies, where now she loves the dinosaurs and is a dinosaur animal rights activist.
How'd she get there? Like, why?
Yeah.
5 is like the Force Awakens to the Lost World.
And I get it with
So they were
Hammond
like, we gotta
because
do that, I guess.
I get it with Hammond because he's just trying to salvage it in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense that he wants his creatures to survive in some capacity.
Austin, she doesn't even have Sega.
Yeah. She should be thrown into an incinerator. So I don't have to deal with her for the rest of this movie.
Yeah, and to something Austin said earlier, Richard Attenborough did some voice work like around this movie for a couple of video games. And then, but like his final movie credit is as a narrator in something, and that was like in the mid 2000s. So he lived a good while after that, but I mean, who knows how good his health was.
Yeah, it's hard to say
Right down the
because
cast.
like he's like Hammond the character is definitely supposed to be like a little worse for wear there, but also when he gets up, like he is like pretty energetic.
So one thing I really like about this movie, when I think it's working, is when it leans into being more of a horror movie. When it is goes to those darker places, which is why having this Kid Kelly character here doesn't work, and she shouldn't be in the movie.
Yup, I'm with you there.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's really awkward. Oh, sorry. Can I say this real quick, Robert? I think
Oh, sure.
I think it's really awkward. The way it dances around the race thing. Because Spielberg and Kep, I read about this today. They felt like they couldn't organically have an explanation for why Ian Malcolm's daughter is black, so they just don't talk about it. And they have just like the one throwaway line where somebody says, "Do you see any relation?" and then that's it. And I'm like, that's not hard to explain. Just he had either he had a black wife or she's adopted. I don't understand. Like, it's not that hard. But they act like she, and I don't remember if that character is in the book and she's black and that's why they went that way. But they apparently like decided on the page that she has to be cast as a black actress. And then they went, "Oh no, we don't know what to do with that." I'm like, guys, it's not hard at all. Like, just say he has a black daughter. Who cares? It's so weird.
Just say Ian Malcolm was made with chameleon DNA, and he can switch his race like just if he needs to.
Yeah, and they do mention in the first one that he has several kids. I don't know. Now, can I though?
I've always thought it was awkward that we never mentioned his other kids in this movie.
The other ones, yeah. Now, can I pitch how to fix this character? What I think could have worked if you have to give him a kid character.
Oh, Dan Stead said in the book she's not black and she's not Malcolm's daughter. Okay, well, I don't know why they insisted on that and then decided they didn't know how to make it or organic. Like, and I'm not saying I have a problem with him having a black daughter. I'm saying, how hard is it to explain? I don't even really need an explanation. It's just awkward that they play it like, how can we possibly explain this? It's weird. And Spielberg had 2 adopted black children.
Steven Spielberg is also the person that said if you were to gender swap Indiana Jones, her name would be Indiana Joan, and that is not how names work. So I don't expect Spielberg to know anything, so it's okay.
Yeah, if I remember, it's been a long time since I've read the book. I think she's just like a research assistant in the book.
No, John, she has to be Malcolm's teenage daughter who is into gymnastics and obsessed with Sega. Okay, that's much better.
Right.
Well,
and apparently here we have
Dr.
Emil Hammond.
They decided to make her his daughter because they couldn't figure out an unconvoluted way to have Ian Malcolm tutoring a teenager, because originally she was supposed to be his student, but then they went, well, he wouldn't teach high school, so how are we gonna make that
Why don't you just
work?
make her a college intern or something? Then that would
Yeah.
make more sense,
No,
anyways.
it has to be a black 15-year-old girl. Okay, it has to
Just
be.
make it-
It's very
make it a
important to
black-
the story.
19-year-old girl.
No. I don't know who this actress is, but it's like they picked her before they wrote the movie. Like, I don't understand.
Right. And, oh my God, it's Norman Bates.
And by the way, I
Oh
don't think,
no! How dare you, Robert?
by the way,
no.
I don't think that actress is bad or anything. I don't like that character.
Yeah. Now, can I pitch though how I think you could have made this
Oh, yes.
Kelly character
Yes.
work?
Do it.
If you have to have his daughter in the movie, I think the Spielberg heart that this movie's missing that could have worked if you have to have her tag along at the adventure. The rift between the two should be, Dad, you're like this crazy person who thinks dinosaurs attacked you. That obviously didn't happen.
Yes.
I don't believe you. So she tags along and sews away and then has that realizes, oh my God, dinosaurs are real and my father was telling the truth. Like, that's what the story should
And
be, in my
probably,
opinion. If,
and
you have to
if
have
it's
this
supposed to be
character
all about survival, separate them at the start and have her running away from the dinosaurs by herself, trying to figure out how she's even going to survive, and then have him rescue her halfway through. And then you have kind of a cool parallel to the first movie with Grant learning to appreciate children, where then you have how many Sarahs do you think are on this island?
It's great.
2 and 3 love just yelling names in the middle of the jungle.
They do.
The world movies really got away from that.
Do they do that in the first
Yeah.
movie at all? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, Ellie's
And-
shouting
yeah.
for Alan in
Oh,
cutscenes.
yes, that's right.
That's really how you differentiate the park from the world movies.
So I don't find any
Um,
of these new characters compelling or memorable, or even most of them feeling like real people at all. And when Sarah, and one of the things that immediately detaches me from anything going on is just how contrived this whole situation is. Sarah has been there by herself for weeks with no problem whatsoever, and as like she's never had one dangerous encounter with dinosaurs at all. And then as soon as her boyfriend gets there, who she by the way has no chemistry with, and we have to be told they've had sex because you can't tell. Then dinosaurs immediately attack her.
What's also weird, because Hammond's like, I'm putting a team together to go to the island with this person, this person, this person, and you. Wait a minute. Did you say this person? Yeah, they're already there.
But I'm putting a
It's like,
team
what?
together.
It's really, just really contrived.
Well,
like
and
you
he
said.
goes,
and I agree. I don't like any of these characters.
Hammond goes,
I
well,
don't know,
I couldn't stop her. There was nothing to do. I'm like, you could have not given her the coordinates yet. How hard
Hammond
is
is also
it?
an idiot.
Yeah. No, I like Julianne Moore's performance fine. I like Eddie Carr, Dr. Emil Hamilton here. I think he's likable.
Did you just call him Emil Hamilton?
Yeah, for Man of Steel.
Oh, I thought you meant his character in this movie was Emil Hamilton, and I'm like, this is not a Superman movie. What are you talking about? Do you see any sexual chemistry or tension between these characters? No, me neither.
I
Yeah,
do.
she's no Gina Davis with him.
I do think Vince Vaughn, for me, is the weak link of the cast, and his character is awful, and the movie doesn't realize it. That's not a
I
thing
don't
that bothered me when
understand
I was
his
a kid.
character
Now,
at all.
he more than anybody should die at the end of this movie, and he doesn't, and it's a problem.
He's also basically like, oh yeah, I'm the badass. I came here to like beat people up, and then he doesn't do anything.
Okay, I gotta ask you
He
guys about
steals
this
the bullets.
because we're here in the scene.
Yeah, like an a-hole.
Do you guys buy? Because this is another thing I think is maybe too easy. And I don't know if Crichton did this and just made it more more believable with, you know, a little more explanation. But do you guys buy the Lysine explanation in this? Because they actually bring up the Lysine contingency, which I appreciate. And I forgot that it was discussed as much as it is. But the idea is the dinosaurs aren't supposed to survive if they don't want them to, because they deprive them of lysine in their systems naturally, and they have to give it to them. So if they don't give it to them, they die off in a few weeks. But
well, that's taken from.
But they have to survive. So the idea is they just eat a lot of lysine-rich plants, and I'm like, well, it's pretty convenient that there's that much of that there, because they're freaking huge. At least we should be told a number of them have died because of that. I don't buy that they all make it.
I think the issue is that's from the first book, I think, but it's just the Raptors, right? And we've just taken that and applied it to all of them. But like the idea, I think, in the original book is that the Raptors were smarter and they were able to figure that out.
I thought the lysine contingency was with all of the dinosaurs, even in the first book, but I could be wrong with that.
No, Cap. What I'm saying is that the Raptors are the ones that are smart enough to figure out, and they're the ones that realize, oh, we can eat things that have that, and then we can keep living. And this movie, I just blankets it over all of them. That might be a thing in Lost World, but I do know that's a thing at the end of the first book, is that the Raptors are the ones that figure that out.
If they all figured it out, there's no way there would be enough to go around.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying does make a lot of sense, Austin, because as we learned from Jurassic House, velociraptors are the most intelligent species that has ever lived. So of course they figured out lysine.
Because raptors are literally superheroes in the Jurassic World movies.
Sarah.
Yes, we know her name, Goldblum.
Hey, John, it's the new Clark. Sarah. Yeah. But our new game for this, John, should be you don't say Sarah every time Sarah's on screen. You say Sarah every time somebody else is on screen looking around for something.
I will say this is definitely the weakest set piece in the movie. Seeing the Stegosauruses are cool, but it ends so awkwardly. Like, yeah, we just didn't have time to finish that shot.
Sarah.
Like, I don't know what happened.
They just left, yeah. Well, especially because, only a few years later you have Peter Jackson's King Kong, which makes like a really cool set piece out of like a similar thing where like she's like going into the tree.
John Kelling says
there's a lot of King Kong in this movie.
John Kelling says they can open doors, guys. They're basically gods.
That is true.
Let me read the super chat. Bob the Hunt, $5 super chat. Why the hell is she obsessed with Sega? That's out of date at this point. She should be obsessed with PlayStation or N64. It was 1997. Yeah, and I mean, like, maybe that stayed in from a draft all the way back to 95. It makes more sense in 95. Yeah. But it does read like, and like with so many things, they're just out of touch, and they're trying to make it sound appealing for the kids, but they don't know jack about video games. Like, and
it's like.
But at least Sega was the best system for Jurassic Park. So I sort of like that as an unintentional nod to that's where the good Jurassic Park games were.
I think David Kapp doesn't know anything about video games, and he just wrote in, I want to play my Walkman like it was a Game Boy. And then Steven Spielberg said, no, we have to reference Sega.
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 Well, Austin had a great idea about this.
Oh yeah, I want somebody to take that scene and re-edit it so it when she says Sega, it's the T-Rex roaring Sega from one of the games. It'd be beautiful.
That's the best Sega opening screen of all time. It's just the T-Rex. Sega. It's great.
Sega. Yeah.
I missed Chewbacca's Lover super chat, and this is just a reference to another stream we had recently. But $2 super chat. He says, "When is the Todd McFarlane biopic? Write it now." We're not ready to give you a release date for that yet, but stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's all I'll say.
Hap and I are in deep litigation, fighting over ideas about it.
That's true, and I'm gonna win. I'm the Todd McFarlane of this. And oh wait, no, he always loses. What am I talking about? He always loses litigation.
Exactly.
Crap.
And Liefeld always wins.
Crap, I'm in trouble. Okay, let me back everything off for a minute and ask all three of you guys, because you guys like this movie, but Robert's pointing out still all kinds of problems with it. In a perfect world, like if you're doing a Jurassic Park sequel, just forget this movie as best as you can. What would your like very broad pitch be? Like, do you want something that's still dealing with a park? Or do you want it to be sort of like this movie where it gets real away from that idea? Like, should it just be people running from dinosaurs on an island? Because I'll tell you what my pitch would be. I like the idea that we start kind of completely over, and our POV is from the perspective of a person that is not, or people not expecting dinosaurs at all, and it's only halfway or 2/3 in the movie before anybody we're familiar with comes in to tell them what the hell is going on. I think it could be really cool to do almost like a Riddick thing with it, where it's just somebody running away from dinosaurs, very little dialogue, really understated, and real moody and atmospheric. But what would you guys want from it?
I think I would just do. I don't know what the second half of the later part of this movie is, where it's just a bunch of people stuck on the island. Doesn't have to be anyone specific. Just a group of people stuck on the island with dinosaurs, and maybe make just like a 90-minute horror film out of it.
What if it was a plane crash like Lost?
No, that's
three.
Three.
That's the third one. I mean, my gut reaction is just don't. But I
Sure.
guess
Well,
I would say something like 3.
There is the question of whether this ever had legs as a franchise, of course.
Mm-hmm. But I would say, I guess, just knowing what we've seen from the series, something more like 3, where it just kind of throws up its hands and says, whatever, here's like a hour-and-a-half B movie with dinosaurs.
The thing I don't like about 3 is we had this secret reason for being here all along that we didn't tell you about. I like the idea of people accidentally winding up there, and we never really got that.
Mm-hmm. No, and you could do that. And that's something we've never gotten away from. It's always got to be some sort of mission or something.
Even the new movie's doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the new movie looks just like Jurassic Park 3 again.
It looks like
it could be fun.
It looks like a 50-50 hybrid between 3 and this. Like, it feels like it might be the best version of this with some 3 mixed in. Which is kind of why I'm excited about it, because I think that maybe is the thing to do with it. One thing I have to give it is that it's... But I think this is a double-edged sword. Is it's not a beat-for-beat remake of the first movie, but I think he's trying so hard to make it not that movie that he can't decide what he wants it to be.
But what's funny is, oh, sorry, go on, Austin.
No, Robert, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
But one of the default criticisms I always hear of this movie, though, is it getting lumped in of, oh, it's one of those bad sequels that just repeats the first movie, and I don't agree with that sentiment at all.
I
don't agree with that.
I've never heard anyone
and people always
say,
oh, but people always say, like, oh, well, the T-Rex scene with the trailer, it's just the T-Rex scene from the first movie, and like that's where the comparisons end.
It's not.
Like,
There's little things like that where like we're doing things like that, but like as a movie, it's not really. But I think the biggest thing with this movie is that is like the ultimate. Oh yeah, this franchise has no legs. Like it's we have no idea what to do with this moving forward.
I love this sequence. It's so ambitious and bigger than anything we do in the first one. And one of my favorite characters in the movie is played by Pete Puzzlewood here. I like this hunter guy a lot.
I don't. I think he's a cartoon character.
Yes, I agree. I also hate this character, but not in the way it wants me to. In that I'm like, okay, I get it. Like he doesn't know what they are because he's an asshole. So he's like reading his thing, and he's like, I don't know, kill that one and get that one.
The big red horn.
Stop.
But also,
I know he's an awful person, but I like him a lot.
But also, he's way too over the top. And I think the movie wants to feel more realistic than some of this stuff. So when he goes, well, don't worry about my fee. I just want the opportunity to kill a T-Rex. I'm like, how the hell do you eat?
Well, you know what the issue is, Cap?
Like, you need
is
money. I don't understand that. Anyway, sorry.
No, like the first film, we're very deliberately, moving into, okay, now we have dinosaurs. I'm not going to say slow, but like we're building that up, right? Like we're building up your anticipation to seeing it. And then we get to this part and it just goes, screw it, here's Yosemite Sam for like 15 minutes. And it's like so completely against what the rest of the movie was.
Yeah, I've just never found him that over the top. Like he's intense, he's eccentric, but that's never bothered me. And I
so
like the
obnoxious.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Robert. I think he's entirely unbelievable, and I don't understand.
He's
him
an
as a
Avatar
character
villain
at all. Yeah, and I just don't understand him as a character. Like then, you get this real easy switch where somebody dies and suddenly it's real for him, and he's like, oh, never mind. I guess I don't want to do that after all. And I'm like, boy, that's too easy. Like just everything about him does not ring true to me.
Well, now it's like, oh, and here's the stereotype rednecks. They are just trying to hunt the poor dinosaurs, and it's like,
Oh my God, Austin.
What movie are we in now? We're in a completely different movie.
No, Austin, I know what movie we're in. We're in friggin' Twister. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Get me out of Twister,
and
please.
that explains why I don't find these characters believable, and why I'm not with it. It's some cross between Tremors and Twister.
Except with no Tremors and only Twister. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even have that thought about comparing those, but you're right.
I didn't either until you said redneck, and I went, oh my God, it's Twister.
Because I watched this earlier today. I forgot about the redneck thing until the guy that actually looks like Yosemite Sam walked into frame.
Well, he's his look's based on a real paleontologist, the guy with like the long hair and the hat.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always liked that guy fine.
So there's all these ideas, like I said earlier, Robert, that like if brought to the fore and the movie was more focused, could be really interesting. Like, I kind of maybe like the idea of the two opposing corporate sides of InGen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like so, there are pieces of this movie I like.
And thematically, this idea of like the hunters versus the gatherers, and like using the dinosaurs to try to point out like the animal nature of man is not a bad idea. I just don't think it does anything compelling with it. I don't think it really culminates in anything. And as far as like the two, I just think you need more corporate politics, more like honest to God politics, if you're going to do this, because ultimately it just goes the obvious only direction it can, which is, well, we try to bring dinosaurs to the mainland so we can do the park again. And I'll give them, they at least come up with a reason for park to be in the title. But you know, they bring to the mainland, and then what happens? They all hell breaks loose, and then ultimately everybody loses at the end. But we don't even get any real resolution to the two corporate sides fighting with InGen. It's just, and we stop the T-Rex at the end. Like, it needs some kind of an epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
And the sequence is also just not thrilling in any way. Like, just as a 15-minute long like action sequence.
See, I like that sequence a lot. I think it's really cool the way it's shot. And I think the CGI is impressive.
Yeah, they made the dinosaurs boring, John. I don't even know how you do that.
Yeah, I've never had that with this movie. I think
dinosaurs. I like seeing dinosaurs on screen. I don't.
But I think in terms of effects, this is, I think, the best of them, just from a technical perspective, like both the CGI and the puppets and the animatronics. I think it looks great. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff in this movie. 3 looks cool too. There's cool animatronics in 3. There's just the problem with 3 is so much that's in bright daylight that there's such that clear like, oh, here's the animatronic scene, here's the CGI scene.
Yeah,
which is
I noticed the CG in that,
but it's more apparent.
It's in the first one too. It's kind of just in all of them.
In this, I noticed it a lot less though, and I think Robert might be right that this is the best looking of them.
Yeah, I mean just technically from in terms of effects.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like this low angle shot we're gonna get of like this compy puppet, like when he's like breathing heavy, like little bits like that are all throughout this movie that I think are really cool. Just so much attention to detail.
It's really bizarre to me when you go back and read the first book that there aren't copies in the first one. And then I know we talked about like the copies opening this movie, but like that makes it so much weirder that they didn't even have them at all in the first movie.
If only they opened 3 with like is it the compies or is it the Raptors? I can't remember. Where they eat like the baby out of the bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If only they opened
That
3
really
like
disturbed
that.
me when I was a child.
And then just still became like a campy B movie.
Well, to Cap's question earlier about like what I think the perfect sequel to that first movie is,
yeah.
I'm kind of with Austin. Like I don't know if there can't, like I don't know if there is. We have a lot of Jurassic Park sequels now. I don't think any of them are amazing. I think that first movie is like one of my favorite movies, and I don't know what the perfect sequel to that looks like. Again, there's pieces here I like, and like Cap was pitching something really stripped down and just people on an island and scary running from dinosaurs. For me, I am more interested in the okay, now dinosaurs exist. How are people going to come here and exploit that? Or stumbling up like a mix of both is what this movie's trying to do, and I like that. But to your point, Cap, we just don't do enough with it.
And the only thing I really would care to see that I'm, like I said, I'm kind of interested in the new one. But the only thing that I actively would like to see is like an R-rated readaptation of the book, where you go like a little bit farther with that.
Yeah, if you ever reboot it, it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of the problem with the new movies, though, is you go back to these older Jurassic Park movies, the first 2 in particular, you could also get away with, especially since it's Spielberg, you could get away with a lot more in PG-13 than you can now. That's part of why the World movies are so, bloodless.
Well,
and
World
have so little
completely
teeth to them.
drops any horror element. Like, I do think at its core, Jurassic Park is a horror franchise, and by World, we've completely forgotten that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of blood and violent stuff in this movie that you could not get away with in a PG-13 today.
I also think that, Austin, there's a way to do a smart, captivating, and even in certain ways scary sequel that isn't that's more focused, like Robert's talking about, on the like societal side of it, and make it more about politics and stuff, and just really make it for adults. Where it doesn't have to be just people running away from dinosaurs, and like they'll never make that. But that's the other thing I'd like to see, and I think a perfect trilogy would be, and then that's what you do with the third one, where you do one more movie where nobody knows about the dinosaurs, and then they find out about it at the end, and then the third movie is, holy crap, there's dinosaurs. What, like how does that affect society? And that was. Roger Ebert's big issue with this movie is there's just not enough like on wonder about dinosaurs. Everybody plays it too routine, and I agree with that. Now, he said that about the first movie too, and I don't know what the hell he was talking about with that, but I'm with him with this.
Well, and that's to my point earlier, though, with the daughter. It's like the awe and wonder, that should be through her character. All these other people know about dinosaurs in the context of this movie and what they're getting into. He should be the character who's surprised and like, oh my god. That should be the audience eyes in, like, oh, dinosaurs.
But even that, for like the other characters, like they've not seen it. Like it is just
interacting
Malcolm
with them. Yeah, I mean, remember the lawyer in the first movie who's like, I mean, I knew about this, but holy crap, now we're here. There's none of that in this at all.
Cap, what I want though from your pitch, I'm gonna take your pitch and I'm gonna like.
You don't F with my pitch. You don't F with my pitch.
I'm effing with your pitch. I'm taking it and I'm adding campy B movie elements. It's Jurassic Parliament, and we bring all the dinosaurs to Capitol Hill, and we're like, okay, we're gonna figure out what to do with it. We're like, doing court stuff and deciding what to do with them, and then they end up getting loose and running wild through Washington, and you get like the T-Rex sitting on the Lincoln Memorial and stuff. And like the Raptors, like they break into the White House.
I mean, you sold me on.
It'd be a great movie.
The T-Rex and the Lincoln Memorial. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's a way to make Jurassic Park a backdoor prequel to Planet of the Apes. Maybe you could do that. Like eventually,
and
this
that's
world turns into Planet of the Apes.
That's kind of what the
Cap,
world movies were trying to get to, but
and then we never did.
no. Also,
so
because this
lame.
is like the research island, right? Like it's weird we're not like in labs and stuff. Like,
Also, I think that whole thing is
when they completely invent this island again.
I
we
also-
get like a lab in 3.
I also think that
But-
whole thing is extremely contrived. Like, why are there? And I mean, it's just for the sake of getting to do everything they want to do with the dinosaurs. But practically, does it actually make sense that every kind of dinosaur would be here? Like, why do they have all these backups? Like they had dinosaurs that they made to go in Isla Sorna, or Nublar, and they put them in the cages and they were almost ready to go, and then they have all these backups on this other island. Like, why?
It's that weird adaptation thing, Cap, where in the book they blow up the island, so Lost World's on a different island, and then the movie adapts that, but they didn't blow up the island in the first movie.
Yeah.
There's two fatal flaws in the way this movie is developed, and one of them is independently coming up with different ideas and then forcing them all together in one movie. Where Spielberg says, I want to do these things, but then Crichton has his novel and will adapt some of that. And the second thing, related to the first, is he storyboards a bunch of action scenes and then says, hey, Cap, figure out how to shoehorn those in there somewhere.
Well, and that's how like every Jurassic sequel happens. Is Spielberg goes, "Hey, writer, here is like 3 or 4 things I want to be in the next Jurassic Park movie," and then they go off and they write that.
Well,
So
and
that's-
3, because 3 gets the pterodactyls because they were cut from this one.
And it's the only thing in any of the sequels that lives up to the first movie. It's really great.
It's
It's
so
a cool sequence.
awkward when you get to the end of this movie and it ends on pterodactyls and you're like, they didn't do anything in this movie. And apparently they were supposed to, and the scene got cut before they made it. But they kept
Yeah,
the
there-
shot where we end with them, and I'm like, that's stupid.
But it looks cool.
So I have a question.
John, we're at the hide.
Okay, can you guys explain to me
Hide.
why you think that is a quotable line? I don't understand that.
Because
You guys
you go high and you hide.
You keep saying it. It's not
It's high,
funny
high.
or memorable.
But we remember it.
Remember, hey Robert, remember when they said, "Hi, Dr. Malcolm"? That was a good line too.
Yeah, that's a good monologue.
Oh my God. Oh, Cap, you don't even know about this. So, John and Robert did a video where they talked about a thing as being a monologue, and it was literally like 3 words.
Yeah.
It was a line of dialogue, and they kept referring to it as a monologue.
It's a short monologue.
That's amazing.
I was like, this is why you guys like Lost World.
Yeah, but also this baby T-Rex puppet is like one of the coolest puppets I've ever seen in any movie. It's so awesome and articulated, and you see it from all these different angles.
Chewbacca's lover says it's obviously memorable if they remember it. I find that patently false, because if you watch something enough times, all of it sticks with you. And I will admit that I have that with Batman 89 to some degree. The difference is some of those lines I remember from the first couple times I saw it.
I don't know. I think Malcolm has a lot of funny lines in this though, like the Sarah Harding bit. There's so many good little bits throughout that I like. Why does she have to touch it?
With that
They
puppet
stepped
though, Robert,
down from the first one, but I still think it's a good time.
with that puppet, Robert, because I agree it is a good puppet. Everybody makes fun of what's her face running in heels in Jurassic World. I don't think enough people make fun of like how fast she's able to run while holding this thing in the climax, and it makes no sense. And that should be made fun of way more than it is.
So John hasn't said it a lot yet, and I just want to point out that John's ironclad argument for why this movie is great is I like seeing dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I like dinosaurs too.
It's wonderful because you can't argue with it. Now, if you said you like Jurassic Plague, if you said you like Dominion because of that, that would be
It
incorrect.
also has dinosaurs.
There's no dinosaurs in that movie, but
But if you watch the extended cut, Camp, then there is dinosaurs.
dude, I would rather do a bloodletting session on camera than that. Like,
I guess you've probably only seen the theatrical cut, right? With that?
yeah, you can't pay me to watch a longer version of that.
No, when we do that commentary,
Let's
Cap,
test that. Nice.
it
Super
has to
test.
be it has to be the extended cut because you need to let me have my rant about the T-Rex's character arc, and it's only in the extended cut.
Look, I'll only do it drunk, okay? There's no chance I come in
That's
here
fine.
sober.
That's fine. It gives me a chance to talk about it. You can be drunk. It's fine.
All right.
Can I?
At the beginning, like I will admit some of my love for this movie is nostalgic, but I would say this is better than all three World movies.
I think so.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Jurassic House is awful. I'm sorry, Captain. It is.
Fellas, they're all trash. They're all in the heap. Okay.
Okay, so
You don't have to fight over them.
no, we do. You go to bed because we know that's what you'd rather be doing. But John,
Okay.
The difference between the way you're taking up for this and the way I take up for Jurassic House is you go, this is a good movie because I like seeing dinosaurs, and I say Jurassic House is terrible, and that's why I like it. Like there's a difference.
I admit this is a flawed movie. I still think it's as bad as you guys are pretending it is.
Pretending.
I will fist fight you in the street, sir.
Pretending. Good Lord.
No, and I do think this is a very flawed movie and a big step down from the first one. But what's funny is when I was a kid, when we just had 3 movies, like this was my least favorite for quite a while. I think my appreciation for it's just grown over the years. Like I'm nostalgic for it, but not to the degree John is. And now, like by default, it is my favorite Jurassic Park sequel. I do still like 3. Like I think it's a fun time, which is the only other one that Austin likes. And the first Jurassic World, like I think it's fine, but I've also kind of soured on it over the years. So it's only gotten worse with the sequels.
I'm sorry to say.
The issue with World is it's like entirely a meta movie. Like everything that's interesting about it is only on a meta level.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't really think that's interesting. Ryder says he agrees with me that the extended cut is so much better. I never said that.
Well, you see, the extended cut of that movie is actually Austin's favorite Jurassic Park.
I just said the extended cut is the only thing that I want to talk about.
All
Dominion.
Austin said was that's the version he's going to make me watch. That's all he said.
And because it's got the thing I have to...
Oh no. Did we lose him?
But it is...
Oh, there he is.
It is genuinely... Oh, did you lose me for a
You
second?
cut out for a second, yeah.
Rats,
Please
curses.
don't make this a commentary that I have to stop in the middle of. And you said that would be
this is one of my favorite.
Remember when
that's
the
a memorable
T-Rex...
line. Tommy's very angry.
Remember when the T-Rex like struggled to flip a Jeep? Now it can just throw a car like 50 feet. That is a thing because I always hear people complain about it. By the time we get to 3, I think this is like the sequence where they are no longer animals; they are just movie monsters, and that's you can take it for whatever. Like that's not inherently an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think like this is kind of that point where I no longer see the dinosaurs as animals.
That's totally fair.
And then that is a gigantic problem all the way through the World trilogy, particularly in House.
Yeah.
Unless you do this. You can do the Adam Warlock, like don't be rash now, and they're fine. But
yeah, and you got to love how they'll respond to that even if they can't see and they only respond to movement. Like it makes no sense. Like how are you even seeing that happen? He's not moving. He's just got his hand out. I don't even understand.
Well, especially because it's like Chris Pratt trained the Raptors to do that, but then it just becomes the thing that they all do. And like the big moment is that Alan Grant gets to do that
Oh
in
God.
Dominion.
Well, doesn't the girl do that too
Yes.
in Dominion?
But everybody does that by Dominion. They're just everybody's doing it.
The only way you can
Yeah.
make that work is if the dinosaur just stops because it's extremely confused. Like, I'm trying to eat you. What are you doing?
If it could speak, it would do the Ronan from Guardians. What are you doing?
So what they think they're doing here, and I don't think it plays at all, because I read Spielberg talking about this, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was supposed to be? Okay. Is there supposed to be this, like, parallel thing happening with, ideal-wise anyway, with Ian Malcolm being a parent, being a nurturer, trying to take care of his daughter, while the T-Rex is doing the same thing with its young, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't play at all.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have like even thought to connect those dots.
No, that is definitely what the movie thinks it's doing. It's just it doesn't really work.
And that could be cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Call me sexist. I almost think that works better if it's if the main character is female. But I mean, that's part of the reason you don't connect it.
Well, I think the T-Rex who gets captured and goes on the San
Is the
Diego
dad.
rampage is the dad, so
Okay.
that's what they know when they're writing it.
Sure,
but
sure.
So that's.
don't really get that on screen.
But I feel like that is
But
the
I
type
have to
of
keep
thing
reminding
that
myself they're
you
not all
realize
female.
when you're writing, and it doesn't necessarily come across when you film it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Hang
like
on, this is gonna be
when you're
bad.
scripting, like yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's a stupid idea or anything. I just don't think it plays.
Mm. And this shot is so awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it. That's part of my problem. It's there are a few really great set pieces in this movie. This one especially, and then the world movies have nothing as cool as this.
This is the
Even
only
Jurassic
part
Park
of the
3 has that pterodactyl sequence.
This is the only
It's
part
awesome.
of this movie that I would want to watch and that sticks with me.
It's awesome.
But I don't like that I don't really care about any of the people involved. And I've always said
It's
that
like not
that's my issue. Is I don't care about any of this because I just hope they all die. But also I'm like I don't know. I do have that. Okay, this is just the first movie, but bigger. Where I'm like, I got a better version of the sequence in the first movie at the same time. It's not the exact same, but like I do have that to a degree.
I mean that is fair. But and this
I
isn't
still
me.
think the stunts here are really impressive.
And Austin, this isn't me going I'm better than you. 'cause I was-
Absolutely. But sorry, go ahead, Cap.
This isn't me going I'm better than you because I was there, but like this got me on the big screen, and it's like the only scene that did. So that's the place where I do have a little bit of kind of the nostalgia thing, where I just I remember this feeling like a theme park ride, and
I mean, I watched this as a kid, and I thought it was incredibly boring.
yeah, but it was cool giant. Is all I'm saying. You didn't get to see it on a big screen.
I was small, so it was still big. It was on a TV. A TV to a child is like the big screen to an adult.
It is genuinely, or I thought this at the time anyway. It was genuinely unnerving with the glass cracking. Like at any point she could drop through that. I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
And that's CGI used correctly.
Yeah.
You know.
It is like a little silly where like I feel like it would just break.
But see, you're just seeing those things because you're already not with it, so now you're picking it apart.
That's what I mean. So it's like I'm already not with it. I can't have that while I'm with it. So like, here's why it's tense. I'm not with it, so it's not tense.
Plush DX says get wrecked, and I'm not sure who you're saying that to, but I'm going to assume Austin.
I think just all of us, just we're all wrecked.
We're all talking about different things right now. He has to be on someone's side. There's no way around that. Draven G says with the whole Raptor thing. He says low key. I want to be see Scarlett Johansson do the sun is getting real low thing on the big Rancor Dino in Rebirth. It is like that.
I also like the score a lot in this movie. all the extra drums and stuff that John Williams is doing.
And this is the
I've
last
always
one
really liked the
Williams
music.
does, right? He only does the first
Yeah.
two?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
See, I gotta be
Who
honest with
does
you.
three?
They never would have done this, but this is tonally trying to go for something darker and I mean sometimes more understated than the first movie. Certainly not overall, but there's a part of me that wants to get completely away from that first soundtrack because I think there are places where the themes of the first movie don't really fit with the material.
I think they're used pretty sparingly. They're just used in awkward bits, like that Hammond scene when the
That's part of
theme
why I
kicks
just don't
in,
even
you're
want
like,
them
that was
there.
weird.
Yeah. The actual kind of Lost World theme is quite good.
And I like when Williams gets to play with more horror stuff. He did the score for Jaws, and I like when he gets to go to those places as opposed to like Star Wars and Superman and Indiana Jones. Like a
Yeah,
lot of those themes
absolutely.
that bleed together that are very similar.
So real quick before we get too far away from it, Austin, you probably you may not agree with this, but I have this like whiplash thing when they start ordering food when he's like, "You need rope? Do you
I
need anything
yelled
else?"
shut up at my TV when I got to that part.
Yeah,
watching it today.
that's what I figured you were gonna say. But what I'm going to say is, I get to that point and I'm like, oh, all of a sudden these characters are like half clever, and I'm like, they haven't been this whole movie. Like I don't even buy this moment. Like if I liked these people and they were all more this way up until this point, that's kind of a fun moment. But like I'm not with them this whole movie. So once they do that, I'm like, I'm in a different movie now.
That's a really cool cut or edit when we're following Eddie into the trailer and then the camera goes down and like that. This whole sequence I really like.
But no, I think we're in agreement on that, Cap, because like I only find it annoying because I don't like them.
Yeah.
Like if I liked these characters, I'd probably be more with that as a bit.
I'm just more indifferent to these characters than you guys are, and I still like Malcolm in this movie. So that's the big difference.
Here, he deserves better than what happened to him in a minute.
Sorry,
yeah,
what?
I like Eddie Carr, and he dies in the car. It's really sad.
Well, that's on purpose.
Yes.
It's not sad. He's bald. Whatever.
No, I think I'm with Robert, where it's the only character that I find kind of a weak link is Vince Vaughn's character. And the movie's never going to bring up that this is all his fault.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he is responsible for like all the deaths in this movie. Literally.
It's like, oh, a baby
doesn't pay for
T-Rex,
it.
I'll just take it home.
Yeah, what you
It's
think was
because he's
gonna
the
happen?
tough guy.
And why do you need Ian Malcolm to tell you that's a bad idea?
Because he wouldn't listen to Sarah.
And again, that's the thing that makes this feel like a typical horror sequel where you've got the almost like he's the only person that survived the last movie. Who's running around going, no, this is really dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I think that's just because he's the only one that came back.
Well, can I also say that I don't know if I buy even that initial setup that Robert was saying he really appreciated. Not to just fight you all night, Robert, but I don't feel like Ian Malcolm of all people would be unintelligent enough to come out and tell everybody about dinosaurs when he knows no one will believe him. Like I don't buy that.
I think it's because of the people that died, and he thinks that people have a right to know what happened to them.
Sure, I just feel like he'd be savvier than that. Like, why is he surprised people think he's a crackpot? And also,
I mean, is he surprised? I don't know.
and also, wouldn't it be well,
I mean, he is. Yeah,
He
like
is.
when he's talking about it, he is. But
he's real
Ian Malcolm's
jaded
more
about
like-
it. Like, this is not how I thought this would go. I'm like, that's the only way this could go. Why isn't this movie open with he's going out of his way to find evidence? Maybe like he goes to Hammond and he's like, look, everybody thinks I'm an insane person. You have to tell them the truth. Why doesn't he do that?
But I think that makes more sense because he's like the rock star scientist in the first movie, while here he's just quirky Jeff Goldblum.
This is the best shot in the movie. Or it's way
With
up
the
there.
2 T-Rexes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And like I said, I also think he's a little traumatized from the experience of the first one, so it works for me that he's not that he's changed.
I don't know if
man.
I got fully that he was surprised, or at least not by the time we get to this movie. He's more bitter about the whole thing because engines.
Yeah.
That's my point, though, is he has to be surprised that people didn't believe him to get jaded and bitter about it. He shouldn't be surprised by that. So he shouldn't have told anybody in the first place. Without evidence. That guy would go find the evidence. And then he'd bring it to people and go, look what happened. But no, he just went on television and went, there's dinosaurs, you guys. And people were like, that's stupid. That's not possible. You're a crackpot scientist. And he went, oh my God, you don't believe me? Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
I just think it's a really contrived setup. And I wouldn't have that at all if he presented evidence and people just ignored it. Then I'm fine with it.
Oh, that shot looked rough.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, they're kind of blurry.
Well, just that, and then like the debris flying up next to them. Just that whole shot was really awkward.
John Kelling says Sam Jackson died off screen. People have a right to know.
I agree.
Oh, that's a yelling
he-
in that movie, Mr. Arnold.
He's not dead yet. He's like currently working for the U.S. military as a cyborg man.
That might be a case with the setup where it might have been better if they had stuck to the original ending where they blew up the island, so he wouldn't have known that.
Oh yeah, everything about this is easier to make us buy if the island blew up. Also with the Hammond thing, Austin, tell me what you think about this. Would it have maybe been a cool idea to contrive some way to bring Hammond back here? And that might be a tall order. I'm not sure exactly why he would go there. But if you can come up with a way to get him here and be part of the action, and he thinks he's like turned his life around and he's learned everything from the first movie, but we can tell that he still hasn't learned the right lessons, and then this time he does die like he does in the book, that might have been cool.
I wondered that too at the beginning of the movie, if you could have done that. Absolutely.
Kill him this time.
Have it kill him in San Diego.
Oh yeah, he doesn't even have to come here. Good
He
call.
doesn't even have to come here. The dinosaur can go to him. It can walk into his bedroom and eat him.
Now, how would you do it, Austin? Would he secretly be on the side of the commercial engine that wants to make the park happen in California, and he's just lying at the beginning? Like, is that how you do it? Or
so it's either that or like he with the characters discovers this and then like comes in almost like Sam Jackson at the end of Winter Soldier, where it's like, oh man, now Hammond's here. He's coming to kick ass at his company.
Yeah,
he
shows up to shut them down. That would have been awesome, dude.
So can I defend my point again?
Yeah.
Because
No.
I still, I do like this setup with Malcolm though, and correct me if I have this wrong, but isn't the idea that the NDA they signed was before they went to the island? Like, hey, you can't tell people about anything you see or what's going on here?
Velociraptor. How can you not know how to pronounce it? Sorry.
I think it is probably an NDA they signed before they go there. I also feel
and then
like
it goes wrong and a bunch of people die, and then he goes public with it, and they're like, oh no, you can't do that. So I like that setup for his character. I just wish the movie spent more time exploring that and his arc. Like I said, there's pieces here. Like
I don't think that negates my point, though. He still would do it with evidence.
But
and there's
what
things that you can
evidence?
prove with that.
He
You
could
can
go
point to where the
find it.
island is for people to look at. Like there is things that you can do, but the movie implies that he, like Cap said, just went on TV and was like, "There's dinosaurs. I went to a park and they'd done it."
Okay,
How does
so
he?
you talked about the.
I know I'm going circular, Robert, but how does he not go to Hammond and say, screw the NDA, you have to come out and tell everyone? That's his evidence. He's got that guy. He knows where he lives. He did all this in the first place.
But so in the book, it's like a volcano or something.
I forgot about that.
And then the island. Is that how the?
No, I think the military blows it up, don't they?
The military bombs it, maybe.
I think there's a volcano somewhere. I forget where that is, but yes, the military blows it up.
It could be a mix. It could be a mix of both. Like maybe there is a volcano and then blowing up the island like activates it. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. But then but I can't remember.
But in this movie, I think they say that there was a hurricane or something that wiped out.
I think there is just like a line about that. Yeah. But that's that. Oh, we're following Lost World now, so now we have to write an awkward line where we throw that away because that creates a plot hole. Like it's just kind of awkward.
And I like this setup a lot in theory of like the environmentalists and these military guys or these hunters having to work together to survive. I think that's fun. We don't do a lot with it.
We don't do anything with it.
I kind of wish they hadn't taken to like halfway through the movie to get here.
Yeah.
Maybe should have gotten here faster.
Mm-hmm. And this is my favorite line in the whole movie. Taking dinosaurs off this island is the worst idea in the long, sad history of bad ideas. I love that line.
What's a bad idea?
No, that's from the better sequel, John.
No, this is the better one. I like 3 though.
I like 3 too. Well, like I said earlier, though, you know, I love.
We're in Fellowship of the Ring. Sorry, but we cut to that shot of everyone walking, and the music kind of sounded like it.
No, like I said, I love Jurassic Park, and then this one I think is a big step down. And for me, Jurassic Park 3 is like just under it. Like I like them about equally, and then I don't really care for the world movies.
Austin and I are very much in alignment with this because I'm with Austin that Grant is still Grant, and that's part of what makes that movie work better. My big complaint with 3 is it's just too short. I need 20 more minutes. Like
and that's what I like about it. It's like we have nothing. We know we have nothing. Like, get in, get out. And I also like Grant. Like I agree. I do think he's at least the same character in that movie. People hate that Sadler thing. I just don't care enough. Like it doesn't bother me. I'm not invested in them as a relationship, so I don't really care.
I don't like that choice, but it doesn't like bother me enough.
Yeah, same here. Like it's too typical movie trope business of like, oh, they're not allowed to stay together for no good reason. But I don't actually care. I don't like her enough in that first movie.
I don't like that we needed an entire movie to like apologize for that.
Austin, I saw a bumper sticker on Amazon the other day that was the Jurassic Park logo, and it had the stupid woman inherits the earth line, and I was like, you took the worst line from that movie and you made it a bumper sticker?
I was really hoping you were gonna say never forget what Jurassic Park 3 did to Grant and Sadler. Like that is a bumper sticker.
But the bumper sticker was dinosaurs eat man, women inherit the earth, and I was like, if I saw that on somebody's car, I would crash into that car.
The sequence alive.
Yeah. It's like, the opposite of a baby on board sign. When you see that, you're like, oh, I shouldn't hit them. With that, you're like, oh, I should hit them.
We all know man means mankind. Shut up. Stop it. Anyway, I hate that. It makes me angry.
I still think the Mystique line in Dark Phoenix is worse. That's my opinion.
Why do we have to compare
why is this comparison?
Yes, Robert, horrible movies tend to have horrible dialogue.
But you love Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
I also prefer Mystique's other line.
Because it's a good movie with a really stupid line in it.
And I also prefer the other line from Mystique in Dark Phoenix.
That is her best line in the movie. Yeah.
That is her best line in the entire prequel trilogy, quadrilogy.
John Kelling says, did they ever explain what happened to Sorna in the World movies? Is it still active? Did they blow that one up? Is that where the new movie is set? The new movie is on yet a third island.
Yeah.
No, it's on. Isn't it on the original island? Because no, it definitely is because we see the remnants of Jurassic Park in World.
No, I'm saying the new one, like the one that hasn't come out
Oh,
yet.
the new one. Sorry, I just heard new one, and I thought you meant like the new one's like the World movies.
No, that's what he's talking about. He says, "Is that where the new movie is set? What's it up to? What's
it's a third island.
It's a third island, and I don't remember if Sorna is brought up at all. I think it is somewhere, but I forget.
The island in the second movie or the fifth movie.
No, it's still the Jurassic World.
No, they
original
open
Jurassic
still.
Park
They open still on Newborn
Island.
Because they have to have the stupid ball rolling again.
They also completely retcon how that island is set up in order to have the mosasaur get out.
Well, and that has a volcano now, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
This was really screwed up in the theater. Like, I was really surprised they went this far.
Great sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the puppets on him are so good. It's really
I also
convincing.
I also like that he doesn't die right away.
Yeah, and then them all like stopping. It's so funny.
I like his name at the moment, but this is just an actor that I like.
Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that is who that is.
A little bit part.
Yeah, because when he popped up, I was like, "Oh, I forgot that Peter Stormare was in this movie."
He almost always plays horror.
Who was in the Until Dawn movie that has nothing to do with Until Dawn?
That's correct. And earlier, Cap, you guys were talking about Pete Postlethwaite, like, oh, he's so over the top of this movie. I think of him in scenes like this. Like, I think he's pretty subdued. I don't know. I've never found him that.
I think that they try to have like a moment or two with him where they're like, "No, look, he's a real person," but it just makes him like more awkward.
That
just,
makes
like,
it worse.
The rest of the movie, I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, okay, but you know, this is still kind of what your character is.
It's extremely manufactured.
It feels like, okay, this is like we have to have that beat, so like here it is, like, and it just kind of doesn't fit.
I like this POV. I like this choice a lot, like this POV shot from the copies.
My other pitch would be half the movie is from the perspective of a dinosaur.
That'd be great.
Kind of just adapting Hammond's death from the book, right? Like, this is kind of how it happens, I remember.
Yeah, good call. Compy's got him.
And I know he's killed by zombies, but I can't remember if it's like drawn out.
I don't remember if we see it or if that happens off screen.
Yeah.
In the book.
Because I do agree with Austin. At some point, I would like to see a readaptation of the book, just like straight up the book.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I never thought of before? This is kind of doing the Nedry death again.
Yeah,
it
it's
is. Yeah. The only difference is that like we've set this up more than the first movie does. Not that that's an issue with how they do it in the first one.
And he's not the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, we don't like that guy, but
really
he's
violent.
not responsible for all of this, like Nedry is.
Yeah.
But
we're just missing them spitting oil.
But like the scene is really similar.
You know what's also weird now that you mention that, Cap? The sequels don't do anything until Dominion.
They don't do anything.
The Dilophosaurus. It's really weird that never really comes back until Dominion, when that's such like a big, like iconic part of that first one.
Well, they're showing them to you in the trailers for the new one, so you'll get something with that. I think.
Are they in the?
I think so. Am I wrong?
I think might be in the trailer.
You
also get a hologram cameo of one in the first Jurassic World.
Yeah, there is that. Well, and then you have that thing that's really funny with Dominion, where they made like a really crazy animatronic, and then it like completely broke down, and it's replaced with like a really cheap looking puppet.
Yeah.
And you have that awful part where it's about to spit oil, and Chris Pratt comes and chokes it.
Austin, I thought maybe there was one of those in a tube or something, like in a lab. I might be wrong.
Maybe I know there's a raptor. I also think there's a compy in the new trailer, but I can't remember. I just saw it too when I saw Thunderbolts yesterday. And I don't remember.
Something else I meant to mention is the sequence that's in Jurassic World with that's kind of like if there's an iconic moment in that movie for a lot of people, it's probably this with the Raptors running along the side of the motorcycles. That was supposed to be in this. They retooled it for World, so they would have been running away from motorcycles, but like that image starts here.
That is a big part of the Jurassic Park franchise, is they come up with things to do in every movie, and then not all make it in, and then maybe it comes in a later movie.
Someday they bring it back.
I did know about that with the motorcycle thing.
And the new movie coming out, Rebirth, is finally doing the river sequence from the first book.
Right.
Yeah. One a big thing I remember, it was like the first thing we knew about filming with the new movie was that they're doing like the long grass thing again, which is a big thing in this movie, and I think was maybe cut down. Like I think it was maybe that's probably also where we had the motorcycle.
That was probably there. The long grass, the chase from the Raptors. That was also gonna lead into some of the characters were gonna have like gliders or something, and that would lead into the pterodactyl sequence, and that was all cut out. And then when they get on the helicopters, they were gonna have the pterodactyls like fight the helicopters, and they like get killed by the blades. That could have been pretty cool.
I hope the new movie ends with, because we're talking about scenes that they never adapted from the first book. I hope they go to the nines, and they go, you know what? I know there's been some dinosaurs on the mainland. Maybe we got rid of most of those. We're gonna napalm all 3 islands at the same time, and that's how we're gonna end the movie. Is sorta Nublar and whatever Site C is. We just nuke them all.
No, you know what it'll be, Cap? Is they're gonna nuke all 3 islands, and like they're about to hit the button, and right as they hit the button, it cuts to like the person that like programs the destination for the nukes, and it's the clone girl from Jurassic World, and she's reprogrammed it so she nukes the rest of the world, and only the 3 islands are left.
Oh my god, that's great! And then she's like, because you're all clones, like me.
She's like, I may be a clone, but you're all sheep. And then she explodes in nuclear fire.
And then you just hear bah.
T-Rex coming into the tin.
Yeah, this scene is goofy, but it's
a cool image.
Just so cool.
But this is another one of those places where Austin goes, well, these dinosaurs are just monsters now. Like, why would it even do that?
Because it smells the blood.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know. But then you get to Fallen Kingdom, which is a much better looking movie than the first Jurassic World. But you still have scenes with the T-Rex head where they like built a real animatronic, and then you see it in the movie and it's just covered in CG. Yeah. Like, you don't need to add detail to we have the technology. Just do it.
Everyone's made fun of the 2011 The Thing for this, and we're still doing it.
Still doing it. Yeah.
Everything about the sequence is just awful. This is one of like the worst parts of the movie.
I don't do that.
So it's so awkward. Like everything from the T-Rex chasing them to that stupid part where they're in the tent, or not in the tent, sorry, in the cave, and the guy gets the snake on him, and he's like,
yeah,
it's so stupid.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So apparently,
it's so stupid. My mind just always flashes back to that scene in the first film where they're like, "Oh, the T-Rex can run like this fast," and it's set up for why the T-Rex can chase the Jeep, and now it doesn't even matter.
I don't know. I love it.
It's such a stupid sequence.
Yeah,
and none of this is tense because I feel like they all have plot armor, and there's 800 people here. Like, this should be like a scene where they all get massacred.
They're trying too hard to outdo themselves for the first movie with stuff like that.
Yeah, and like they're not thinking hard enough about how you can do that and make it work.
So apparently the science advisor on this movie butted heads a little bit with Spielberg and the writer over whether or not the T-Rex should like in like historically like the real creature would have been a predator. And I think you can really see that on screen where they cannot decide which it is.
Well, and that's why you get that with 3. Because by the time 3 happens, I think is when they're like full on like, oh, the T-Rex was a scavenger, and now we've kind of moved back away from that. And that's why we move on to the Spinosaur.
Let me read this super chat real quick. Austin, you're going to love the super chat.
Yeah.
And anytime I say you're going to love something, it means you're not going to love it. A MIDI
I already read
Belof
it.
is a name I don't recognize. $5 super chat. Just got back from Thunderbolts. Absolutely atrocious with a capital A. This is a much better movie. Miss when bad films were 5 out of 10 like this and not a 2.
That's too bad you didn't enjoy it.
I'm really curious to see where I'm going to land on it because I've been hearing things on both sides because of course everything is polarizing these days.
Yep. So as stupid as this bit is, I do love the shot of the T-Rex pulling him up and the blood coming down the waterfall.
Thanks for the
That's really
I
cool.
mean, as a shot, like that's
But
fine.
it just kind of makes me laugh. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and the bit with the snake, I get it in theory, because, I mean, you don't know how you'd respond to that situation. He's just freaking out. But it's awkwardly executed.
No, it's stupid because the T-Rex face is right there and he runs directly into it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're panicking about a snake, you're not running straight into something's mouth.
Right.
Like, I get, like, obviously, you know, because I agree with that. Like, you do panic. Like, the fact that he panics is fine. It's just everything about it's very stupid. Like, just how they show it.
But I love this shot.
What's more awkward about that is just the T-Rex mysteriously vanishes so that Jeff Goldblum can run through the waterfall.
We've been being chased
This
by
entire
dinosaurs.
sequence has
Everybody
has
yell.
no stakes. It's all plot armor.
I don't know. Like,
why should I care about any of this? They're only alive because of plot armor. Like throughout this entire thing.
But now a bunch of red shirts are gonna get killed by velociraptors. That's fine.
And
Don't go into the long grass.
At least we get really good looking raptors in the sequence.
look
One thing
great.
we learned with the first movie is you gotta keep them in the dark because we have to do a lot of that with CG, and they just look great here. And you guys know how much I love raptors, so I just get excited about this anyway. But
I
I'm
love
with
this
Austin,
shot
like,
of jumping up.
I don't care about any of these characters, but I'm glad they don't have plot armor from the raptors. Like that's good.
Well, also this is a cool idea for a set piece where you have like grass that can hide them.
Yeah.
Like this is a place where we're working more with like trying to make this tense.
And Austin, they're consistent because this is another place where we can tell that the raptors are the most intelligent species on the planet. They know how to hide in grass.
Oh, clever girl! You hid in the grass. That's what it did in the first film.
Robert, to your point, maybe this is where they should have killed Nick with
Yes.
one of the raptors.
Right. Well, when he contacts, when he makes contact with the boats, is when I would have had him killed by the raptors.
Could we kill the girl here by raptors?
Sarah Harding, the
logically,
daughter.
There's no yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm
It's
kidding.
both.
I'm kidding.
But no, like that, the setup of that sequence is so cool though, with like the animatronic heads coming up in the grass, and then that overhead shot where it's real grass, they really grew it, and having the people walk through, and then the raptors like breaking the grass, like that's all CG added on. It's just blended so well. It's little bits like that.
Sorry, this is a name I don't recognize. BTS with CTS says, did someone pull out Spielberg's Oscar whenever that advisor disagreed with him on set?
That's the Austin Powers. That's the gold member joke. Hell yeah, I approve of that.
That's also funny because even that first movie is so scientifically inaccurate. I'm surprised they even cared to bring an advisor on for this one.
Well, and they had him there too. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Dilophosaurus could not, nor it did not have the frill thing, nor could it spit oil. But you can tell that there is a shift with 3. Like that was a big thing that they made it, a deal of.
Look, now
where
we're gonna
we
get
had
some
Raptors
Jurassic.
with feathers.
Now we're gonna get some Jurassic Park
Yeah.
nostalgia from the long ago film from 4 years ago.
Yeah, this bit
Holy
doesn't work
crap!
for me
I
at all.
remember that.
But also the
That's a really
T-Rex.
cool mural, though.
It is cool, but like the real T-Rex, it could not run very fast.
Yeah, and I was
That's
going
one
to
thing the
mention
first
that
movie
too
brought.
in that sequence, but like it's just awkward because it's a sequel to that movie. So like,
Because it contradicts the first one, yeah. It's like when I mean that's not in the movie, so like you said, it's
well,
just
and
an
then
inconsistency.
the
But then
climax of this film is going to be it chasing them in like a convertible.
Mhm.
So like, it can also run fast in this film, except when it can't.
So I was agreeing with you that it's just inconsistent in this movie. But then you get to like Jurassic World when they make a point of saying like these aren't real dinosaurs, they're monsters, they're engineered, and like trying to retcon that. It's saying that's why these aren't scientifically accurate. It's like, yeah, that's not in the first movie at all. That's,
Okay,
you're just trying to backtrack.
so
Annoys me. Just own it. Like,
Yeah.
So I
cares?
don't agree with you guys on that. I've always liked that as an explanation, because you can because there are so many things that we found out after the fact when even with things that they were trying to be more scientifically accurate about, like the feathers with the raptors and stuff, and it's just a really smart explanation for why. And also, I don't need it to come up in the first movie necessarily.
I mean, it is
I
also
think-
like technically a thing in the movie because we already know that they are like a hodgepodge
Well, yeah, there's
of
that.
DNA.
Because in World they're intentionally engineering them differently, and in Jurassic
What?
Park they're not doing that on purpose, and that's why I don't need it to come up.
Rebuttal. That movie opens with them talking about velociraptors and digging up that fossil and everything, and that's just not at all what a real velociraptor is. So even before we get to the island, like we're not like that's not
They're
a real
not-
velociraptor. They're not
Yeah.
paying attention to
Yeah,
and-
I mean, you're not wrong
personally,
about
I
that
don't
either.
care.
and Alan Grant's
Well,
like an expert on this.
And
stuff.
even the Jurassic World movie is because then you get to Dominion and we get to live with the dinosaurs and when they originally lived, and they look the exact same.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I'll also say that if you're gonna do, whether you like this or not, if you're gonna do like your new genetically engineered like weird hybrid creatures and stuff, that idea is kind of baked in.
I also don't care about
Yeah.
the hybrids.
I don't care about the hybrids, and my thing with the monster line is that it's just there to be like, look, no, it's fine that we did the hybrid thing. Like, I
Yeah.
agree that is there in the original, but that's like, I kind of don't need that because it's just there to excuse something I don't like.
Yeah, you do make a
Yeah.
really good point with the skeleton at the beginning of that movie. All they had to say is, and I'm joking when I say this, but all they had to say is that Grant is a crackpot, doesn't actually know anything about velociraptors, and what he was really digging up was a Utah raptor, and he just didn't know it.
Yeah,
He
because
was
that's
just
more
there
what
for
it's based on.
digging up Ellie Sadler. Yeah.
And he's like, "Look, we're
Yeah.
not even in Utah. There's no chance this is a Utah raptor."
Also, he also has like talks about like the T-Rex. Its eyesight is based on movement, and I don't think that's a real thing or has
Okay.
been debunked.
Yeah.
No, that is totally just a thing made up for that movie.
So
Also,
so then conveniently all the stuff he thinks he knows about dinosaurs is incorrect, but they're all the things that they accidentally genetically engineered these dinosaurs to be. It's just the whole thing is like, it'd be really funny if you made that a plot point later where it's like Grant is vindicated by all of these things and it turns out that none of it is accurate. It's just what happened with these dinosaurs.
You know, Cap, I-
kind of playing hide tag with the raptor.
yeah.
Speaking
this
of
scene-
you being,
I do
sorry,
I do
go
love,
ahead, Robert.
I do love this scene. I don't care what
Ru-
anybody says.
yeah, No, this scene is very silly, but like when the raptor jumps through the window and is chasing, like it's silly, but also when you see the behind the scenes, like they rigged that glass to shatter for real and things to move. So just how it's executed is really cool. Again, that blend of practical and CG. So it's executed well, but it's also very goofy. I agree.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Cap, your theory about them being the smartest animal on the planet is officially out the window.
Literally.
This gag is
Literally.
great. That stuck with me. Though when it's like digging its face through the window, like that's a cool bit.
They've learned how to dig through windows.
It is part of that. Like they are just movie monsters now.
Mhm.
Like an animal wouldn't do that.
Right. And I'm with Cap though. I think this is my favorite in term just look for the Raptors when you see that like they're kind of red and they have those stripes.
I
like just
this,
design wise.
I like the
they're my favorite
setting
Raptors.
with them. Like if this is a video game like sequence that you play, it kicks ass.
Until
I don't know if this is a-
bit.
That's how
I don't know if this is
superficial
a
I
hot
get it.
take, but I do think I like the look of the Raptors in both Park sequels more than the first movie. Just like design wise.
I do think they're cool in 3 just because they are different. Like I like the purple.
Well, me too.
And I like the feathers.
John Kelling, Jurassic Park exists in a world where the Utah raptor doesn't properly exist and paleontology is unrecognizable.
Also,
Exactly. It's the multiverse, Cap.
I also wanted to
The
mention we were
leopard,
talking.
I mean.
That is my favorite bit in the Red Letter Media Jurassic Park commentary when they're talking about the fossil scene and Mike's like, and this is when all the paleontologists in the audience threw up. Because you don't find a fully formed skeleton fossil just in the dirt. Like no, you find pieces and then assemble them together and hope you got a full dinosaur. That's how a fossil
just
Look, that's for the idiot
That's just
children
what
of
all-
the audience.
That's just what all movies do.
Yeah.
So this is the scene. This is the bit that this movie is most infamous for. With a lot of people is the girl with the gymnast. They're doing the gymnastics, kicking the Velociraptor.
I do like the joke.
This is
School cut you from the team.
I guess this is like a bad example of setup and payoff.
Yeah.
No, I like the joke, but I don't like the payoff to the joke, to how we get there. It's very dumb.
I just don't like that the raptor turns and does like a huh? face and then just stands there for a minute until it gets kicked.
Again, the
they're
animatronic is
instantly. Yeah, no, of course. They're instantly just really dumb in this sequence.
awesome.
We want
And-
these guys in the military.
Is
All
there,
you have to do is
To be
yell,
fair.
"Hey, you!"
is there any
To be
part of-
fair,
Sorry, go ahead.
there is a lot of running around from Raptors shenanigans at the end of the first movie that gets a little silly. Just throwing that out there. Like
I
those kids
100%
should-
agree. One of my things with the first film is that I do think the T-Rex sequence is like the peak and nothing ever gets back up to that point. I agree. I do think there are dumb things with the Raptors in the first movie.
Boy, where's my eject button?
It's right.
Open the doorknob.
You-
That was.
You cannot besmirch the good name of Raptors. No, you're right. I don't care.
I don't
just
have
fun.
to. Look at what we're watching.
It's just fun.
They're idiots.
Yeah, no, that's true. So all I'm talking about is they look cool. That's all I'm saying.
And I agree.
Have you ever played that Jurassic Park fighting game, Cap, that they had in, I guess, like the early 2000s? I think it's for
No!
PS1.
I forgot
a
all
Mortal
about
Kombat?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a
Oh my
3D
God.
Mortal Kombat where like you're just like in like little arenas near
That's
all
great.
the dinosaurs. But because the raptor is so much smaller than all of the playable dinosaurs, they had to like increase its size so it's the same size as the T-Rex.
So just
But it's a
nothing's to
raptor.
scale.
Yeah, so it's no, like
amazing.
all of them are scaled up to be about the same size because it's a fighting game.
They should have also had a compy.
I wish they did. That would have been amazing. I forget what that game was called.
It should have been
But I
called
remember my
Jurassic
uncle
Park
had it.
Tournament Fighter.
That was one of my favorite games as a kid because my uncle had it, and I was like, "Oh man, it's Jurassic Park, but it's just the dinosaurs fighting." This is great.
Austin, it's called Warpath.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I think it had like fatalities and stuff. Like every dinosaur had like a killing move you
I
could
forgot
do.
all about that. I saw footage of it once. I've never played it.
I've heard that game is terrible, so I
Yeah,
don't know
there's
if I ever want to
Raptors.
replay it. But I loved it.
I never knew what it was called.
Right?
Though.
It's just the same size as a T-Rex.
Okay, so, is there, and maybe this would have felt too sequel-y, I don't know, but is there any part of you guys that thinks that the setting might have been kind of more fun with this if it wasn't Site B, and if somehow you had dinosaurs that had survived on Nublar, and we get to see just, like, the wreckage of everything?
I was going to mention that earlier. I do think that would be like kind of fun, where you get to see kind of how everything's been like grown over and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I
It
was
could have been
imagining.
interesting.
That'd be
Yeah,
more
I might
fun.
have preferred that. And then you
like
get
you
to
can still have more dinosaurs because like time has gone by. Like like there can be more that way. It's maybe a little awkward with the T-Rex. We can just say that there was another one. I
And-
don't
and
know.
then you
Like
bring
you're
Mr.
already retconning things in this movie
who
anyways.
cares? And then you bring Mr. Arnold back, and he's been living there this whole time, missing an arm.
Oh my god, he is just Kazar or whatever, the Marvel character that's just Tarzan.
Yes!
It'd be amazing.
The movie opens with like a
Mr. Arnold, the Last Man.
The movie opens with like a first person POV sequence with him like just surviving against some kind of dinosaurs, but you don't know it's him yet until other characters get there.
That'd be wonderful.
It's also funny that you get to Jurassic Park 3, which is the same island as
That's
this
my new
movie,
pick.
and it looks completely
It
different.
does. It's ridiculous.
Like there's no consistency.
So I was having a
And
conversation.
that one's got the kid that's just living on the island.
So this movie came up in a conversation I had with Vince's wife over the weekend at Jason's birthday party, because I mentioned offhand that I was doing this, and she goes, "You know what's always bothered me about the Jurassic Park movies?" And I was like, "What's that?" She was like, "How does it make any sense that they made pterodactyls?" Because, and I never thought about this. She goes, and tell me if she's wrong. She goes, "You couldn't contain them. Like, those would be the one dinosaurs that would get off the island, and then everybody would know about dinosaurs. Like, how do you contain them? It's not like
Well, that's
there's
why they're in the big dome.
They're in like a
over
dome
top.
in 3.
Okay,
They
but,
get out. They get out because they they leave the door open when they leave,
But
but,
did did
they are in like a
Nublar-
dome.
But did Nublar have that? Or did
That
it
I
not?
don't know.
Or do we know for sure that it didn't have any pterodactyls? But then, what's the explanation in World? Because there's pterodactyls in World, and I don't think there's a dome. Or
I
is
think
there?
No, there's a
there's
dome.
that-
The
There's a
helicopter
dome
crashes.
and the helicopter crashes into it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I just forgot about all of that, and she did too, or wasn't paying attention.
No, but
That's
that's something I always thought of like as a kid, where I'm like, it doesn't really make sense that they're there, and then when you watch it, like you go, oh, okay, like they did kind of think about that.
Also, you get to the end of this movie and you see pterodactyls flying around, and the next movie will completely ignore that and say, no, they were in the dome the whole time. And
So
then they get let
that's
out of the
probably
dome.
she's probably seen this movie. She's
You're
like,
talking
wait
about
a
this
minute.
movie. That's correct.
I think that's why she brought it up, because we were talking about this. Yeah. BTS again. Let me read this comment real quick. I agree 100% with Austin. It's the Velociraptor making that head turn and waiting to get kicked that really dumbs down that scene. I think the concept of Kelly saving Ian with her kick had potential.
You
I
could
just
make
don't
it
think
play
that works
better
with a
if it doesn't stop and go, huh? Like if it
Yeah.
was maybe about to jump and then she kicks it, it's immediately less cringy. Can I complain about how dumb it is that we do a Demeter thing in this movie with the T-Rex?
I think the atmosphere. And
I don't know what that
sequence
means.
coming up. It's really
The Demeter
Oh.
cap is the boat that Dracula sailed to England on and like slowly picks off everyone on the boat.
Oh, right.
How did that happen?
Okay.
Like,
So-
none of this here makes any sense.
No, I don't
So
get that
it-
either. It's too large.
Oh.
How would it have space to
Oh,
move
it's-
around and do that?
well, and you get like the hand on the wheel.
Yeah, and like
which is really
nothing
funny.
else is disturbed. Like
So in one of the drafts for this movie, the idea was a bunch of raptors were going to get on the boat, and they ate and killed everybody. That should be in the movie. I don't know why that
Yeah,
was
that
cut.
immediately fixes it. And you can do a little bit more than just, oh, we have the T-Rex. Like, it's a little bit more carnage.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was never like bothered by like plot holes or whatever. Even today, I don't really care. But even that, as a kid, I was like,
neither
"Wait,
does John. He just gets
how
to
does
see
I
dinosaurs.
can't get into the atmosphere of the sequence, Robert, because it's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm
Again,
sorry,
this
but
model's cool.
you have
I
to
think it's cool
explain how
miniatures.
this happened.
How do you guys feel
No.
about the retcon that John Hammond had a amphitheater in San Diego because originally he was going to have this as just a stage show there and not a full park, and abandoned it at some point for the island? Because I'm kind of of two minds about it.
Yeah, we just don't talk about it enough for me to really have it.
It's only there because we're just doing King Kong, and that's what
Mhm.
it is in King Kong.
You know what?
I need more information on how that plays with the original.
Yeah, like what I imagine. The only idea that makes sense for me with that, I don't know why you wouldn't like elaborate on it. Is Hammond originally wanted it in California, and he was thinking smaller, and then he started building before he had all of his legal ducks in a row and patents and things, and then has to get that shut down, and he's not allowed to do it in America. And so then he starts developing everything with the, and maybe the idea is they're developing everything at Site B before that, and they were going to bring it all to California, and instead they end up putting it on a different island, maybe because of space issues, or maybe because they thought it would be less dangerous to not have everything in the same island. Like, I've never even been totally sure why you needed a second island, but anyway, that's if I had to headcanon it, I guess that's the best way to explain it.
No, that's a good headcanon.
Okay, in the book Jurassic Park, not Lost World, the Raptors get off the island, right? Like, that is, I'm like correct in thinking
Yes.
that.
I don't know
what we-
how, but yeah, that does happen.
What we should have done here is play
They're
this
good
exactly
swimmers.
as it
Everyone
is, where
knows
you go,
Raptors
how
are
the hell
excellent
did this
swimmers.
happen? And then end it with, oh man, the Raptors were on the boat and they got off the boat before people got on it. Like,
Yeah,
Yes.
that would have been cool.
that would have been neat, yeah.
Yeah, like this is kind of stupid, but I don't know.
It's more than kinda, John. This doesn't make any sense.
This T-Rex rampage is still really fun.
But Robert, don't you know how good velociraptors are at swimming? Like, everyone knows that.
Like I said, instead of some of the goofy stuff we got, I wish we got them on the boat.
Like, Grant's an idiot. They're
Missed
basically
opportunity.
fish.
He popped in the chat and said, "Funny this should happen today. I work with someone who thinks real dinosaurs still exist or for sale in Argentina for $300."
They're that cheap.
Well, I was gonna mention when you brought up that
My dogs cost that!
I was gonna mention when you brought up the bone thing, Robert. My dad's first wife did not believe in dinosaurs, and her whole thing was
Oh
that
no!
archaeologists like put together bones of other animals.
That's like finding out your relatives believe the earth is flat. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like 8 years old, and I was like, "You're dumb."
Yeah, I'm not gonna name names, but I definitely knew people growing up who were very like, "Oh, dinosaurs weren't real."
The other reason this
It's
movie
like, oh, God.
needs an epilogue badly is, and part of the reason I think Roger Ebert is really right about how weird it is that people just accept dinosaurs willy-nilly in this, is how do you not have some kind of aftermath about how people have now seen a T-Rex walking around California and the world knows about dinosaurs now. And then you get into 3, and I don't get much of a feeling that the status quo of the Earth has been rocked all that much by this development.
There's like a throwaway
Right.
line where Grant's like, "We all remember when the T-Rex was in San Diego." Like, that's all it does with this.
Yeah.
But to add to what you're saying, Cap, not only that, but then you would have more of like a through line with Grant, or not Grant, sorry, with Malcolm, where
Right,
you start
he's
the movie with
vindicated.
like, oh, nobody believes him, and like now you get to see that side where everybody knows, and then that's when you can end with, oh crap, and the Raptors are still here.
Yeah. There's a way to fix some of this.
That's like a way better ending. That'd be great.
So
We're coming to the best shot of the entire
It's
franchise.
still
though.
boring before you get there, but it'd be a
Oh
good
no, it
ending.
absolutely is. I'm just saying, like that is a better ending than what we have. That is a way to make it a little better, but it's still a awful movie that I hate.
again, the T-Rex still looks really awesome in this movie.
The T-Rex animatronics are so good.
Mhm.
And this is like the last movie for the T-Rex, really. Like it is like a power up to beat the villain in the first and last World movie, and it gets like a scene or two in the second one.
Writer says
So
It's just there to show off the new dinosaur.
Yeah, exactly.
Writer says they
Oh,
did this
God.
better in Fallen Kingdom, and I don't agree with
I
that.
don't
but
agree,
they
God.
did it
Also-
funnier there, and I love how pretentious and self serious it is, and it art like not self like artsy fartsy, and it makes me smile because it's very funny.
I hate this family so much, and I hope they all died.
Oh, they're
Same.
awful. They don't make any friggin' sense.
They also leashed their dog to a doghouse
yeah,
it could drag
in a backyard,
next to a swimming pool. It could drown.
and in a backyard with a fence.
Yeah.
Like, why does it have to be tied down?
Have you guys
This is the best shot of the entire franchise, and it's
It's
all
so
game
good.
over.
Have you guys
now.
ever listened to what the parents are actually
feel that.
saying there? Because it's almost like they just told them like say random things because like it doesn't make any sense at all. Because the father
it's-
says,
yeah, okay.
"I told you you have to serve him dinner or he'll be up all night," and she says, "I did serve him," and I go, "What is this exchange?"
Talks like that.
And then they go,
What are
I
they
told
talking
you
about,
should
Robert?"
not have given him fish. You should give him a light, like a night light instead.
Yeah,
I agree, Cap. That entire sequence is so awkward.
No,
But
all
I
they,
got that
all they
one
have
good
to
shot.
do
Horrible.
is say, man, he has an overactive imagination. He's constantly drawing monsters and saying that there's monsters under his bed, and like,
He's watching too many horror movies. Yeah.
like
It
there's
also is
not
one
a
of the only real
person
callbacks.
There's not a person I know that wouldn't write a scene more believable than that. You just say you have parents. Right? Whoever wrote that scene didn't have parents.
And then you get that callback where they have like the awful dialogue. The kid picks up the camera, flashes it, and the T-Rex is like to look at him.
Yeah.
That's from the Jeep scene in the first one.
That we talked over it, but that's another Malcolm line. I like when the parent sees us. Isn't it gonna be like you? I just love his line delivery.
Well, that's pretty over the top. And why does she have her dog in the car?
That was a Spider-Man 2 extra.
Yeah.
That was a Spider-Man 3 extra.
No, I know the one Austin's talking about.
I
There's a lot
thought
of
the
screaming
screaming
at it.
girl. Oh no, that is 2.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
and
Doc
it's
Ock.
especially funny because it's just Doc Ock here. It's at least a T-Rex.
Well, no,
we're
but
also gonna
Austin-
get that weird
I
Godzilla
love this
homage
show.
where we just cut to like 6 Japanese
Yep.
men running.
No, I'm
It was the
thinking
90s.
about the bit with in the action scene early on in 3 with Gwen Stacy, where there's a woman that's screaming at a building like that. If memory serves,
I don't remember that. Yeah,
I might.
we
I might be
missed
wrong. Of course,
Arnold
we have to have
Schwarzenegger
Japanese
as
men running.
King Lear.
So you
I
gotta
want
love
that
how
movie.
Spielberg was this makes no sense. Spielberg was worried that they would get too many comparisons to Godzilla, and then he intentionally does an homage with a bunch of Japanese men running down the street. Like what?
Yep.
Mhm. No, that's what I was saying a minute ago. Like it's very just yeah. I don't know.
Is there any chance though that was a second unit shot? Because you need second unit for a
It
lot of
could be.
sequences like that. And so he's like, "Oh, this would be funny. Let's throw that in." I mean, it still made it in the movie.
I could see that being a second unit shot. Absolutely.
And of course, Goldblum has
And
to
the-
have a cool car.
I just want to know why that King Lear poster is there because it's so weird.
I want that movie.
Like they had to make that. They had to get him
Yeah.
to sign off.
Well, there's
on
there's
his
also the Robin
likeness.
Williams one, and I always forget what the title of that says. But there's a
I'm
Robin
always too
Williams one.
distracted by the King Lear one, so I was just assume that the Robin Williams one is a real movie.
Delayed reaction there.
It's so good.
I don't like Sarah Harding's, and I don't know this actress from much else. I don't think.
Julianne Moore? You've
I
definitely
like
probably
Julianne
seen her and stuff.
Well, that name sounds familiar. What else is she in? I guess I
Big
must
Lebowski.
have. What's that? I've never seen that.
Big Lebowski. Okay.
No, I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of things I know that you've seen.
Yeah. Anyway, but I don't like her like cinematic dramatic face. Like it's just weird. She just does this really weird squinting thing where I'm like, are you trying to look like dramatic? Or are you trying to look surprised? Like what is that face? It's like, I'm like, what is that?
I don't know.
She looks
She
like
also
she's
doesn't
got
do
a.
a lot of movies.
She looks like she has an itch she can't scratch on her face. Like I don't understand that face.
This
she makes.
movie is also full of actors that I know are good actors that I don't like their performances in this film.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe it's a direction thing.
I'm
I
sure
don't
she's
know.
good in other stuff, but I don't like this character and the weird faces she's making.
No, I hate Sarah Harding as a character.
I've got a couple comments I want to read from BTS.
Oh yeah, that's a
here.
movie I know you've
Yeah.
reviewed. Chewbacca's lover throughout is she's in Don John.
I mean, that's been for. Oh yeah, okay, I remember that now. I forgot that was her. Crazy.
They just threw out something. I'm trying to think of other things I know
Cat-
you've seen.
Yeah,
She's
Cat,
in a
did you
ton
see
of
the-
movies.
and quite a bit older.
Cat, did you see
than
the
that?
Did you see the Carrie remake?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, she's the mom.
He's the mom in that.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, you guys aren't bolstering my confidence in this actress. John John's good. I mean, I like that movie, but. Anyways, BTS Jurassic Park 3 barely has a third act, while The Lost World has a fourth act. That's an excellent point. And he also says the Easter eggs in the blockbuster are a nice touch. I'll have to look closer if I ever bother to watch this movie again, but I didn't notice
Yeah.
That's what Robert and I were talking about, Cap, is
Oh, I'm
there's
sorry, I
a
must have
weird
missed
King. There's a weird poster that is Arnold Schwarzenegger as King Lear,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
what you were
very
talking
weird.
about. I understand. Okay. I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about somewhere
I
else, and I
was-
didn't know what you were talking about. Sorry.
Yeah, there is some backstory about that. I just don't remember it. Like there is some inside joke that leads to that. But yeah, I want to answer Austin's question.
look, guys.
about why that's there.
Dan's dead and everybody. I'm not trying to throw shade at this Academy Award winning actress. I just don't like this character and the weird faces she's making. It's just the wrong choice.
You can't
And-
forget her best performance, which is as Clarice in Hannibal.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, she's not great in that movie.
That is
But
not
the-
a great movie.
That's why I never watched it. Everybody told me that.
This sequence I like a lot though, of the T-Rex teaching its child how to hunt, and the way this guy dies is pretty
Funny
cathartic.
enough, that's another case where as an author writes a book so that they can make another movie, if I remember.
Yeah,
If
that's
that
a
is
good point.
indeed what happened.
Oh, Hannibal is definitely like Silence of the Lambs comes out is huge, and that writer is pressured.
I'm
into
saying,
writing
I think
I'm
Cat
saying
meant for
if,
this,
if
but
indeed
yeah.
that's what happened here, because we're having a hard time deciding if for sure that's what happened here.
Mhm.
Now, somebody said earlier that it reads like a book that's written to be adapted, and I've never read it cover to cover. I've started it a few times. I've had trouble getting into it.
Which book?
I've read it, but it's been a long
This.
time.
Okay.
And now Diet Hammond is dead.
Well, there's a lot of Diet Hammonds. To your point earlier.
Well,
See, look at the face she
Hammond-
makes.
Hammond-
Especially now.
Hammond is to Jurassic Park what Ripley is in Alien. If they're not
Believe it
there,
or
we have
not.
to have the diet one.
Oh, and we all throughout this we've talked about like the retcons and inconsistencies. We never even opened the Jurassic House can of worms of this whole other partner that Hammond apparently had.
Yeah.
And all that lore that
That's
movie
funded by
adds.
it.
That whole thing is
This
That's
is
how they're
Diet
dying.
Hammond. That is Coke Zero Hammond.
well,
No,
and the retcon of the two of them were in a basement doing DNA experiments together. I'm like, get out of here. They worked off
The
the
whole thing with
backs of others.
Hammond-
He's not
not
a
a scientist.
scientist.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that's the whole thing about Hammond is he doesn't know any of this.
Yeah, so what we were talking about earlier, though, part of why I don't think there is like the perfect sequel
How long are we
is
gonna
this
linger
franchise
on
is just
this?
too far gone.
Shut
Like
up.
it's too broken. There's too many inconsistencies, and like I think we're at the point with this franchise with that new movie coming out, Rebirth, where the hope is that it's just kind of its own thing and ignores a lot of the baggage from these other movies and can hopefully just be a fun adventure film. Like that's where we're at. It's like, okay, we have to stop making like direct sequels and just kind of ignore what's been done in the middle.
Robert, do you know how the new one came to be? I know I've explained this to Cap on stream, but do you know about how that movie happens?
Remind me.
Like halfway through making Dominion, because it gets shut down because of COVID, they're like, "Oh crap, this movie's a complete disaster." And Spielberg's like, "Hey, David Cap, I need you to come in and fix this." And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." And he's like, "Okay, well, like make a new movie. Like we need to salvage this. This is like completely destroyed."
That would explain why they made it so fast. I mean, we'll see how rushed.
It's because they started writing it halfway through making Dominion.
That makes a lot of, because when the date was announced, it was like what, last year, and it was like, oh my god, that's fast.
Yeah,
so that explains it.
Yeah.
You guys, I never appreciated until we were talking over it just how long we linger on the shot of Goldblum looking off dramatically with water dripping off his face. Like, it's ridiculous how long that shot is. And then the camera moves away from him and then comes back and he does it some more.
That's why you thought this was 2 hours and 45 minutes, Cap.
It's basically the length of the introduction of the Enterprise in Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Except at least that's good.
No, that's hyperbolic.
It's basically that.
Yeah, that's a 20-minute
like
sequence.
Wonder, and it's like
I think it's
amazing.
like half
It looks
that movie.
great.
So yeah, then when we get to the
I like
end
this
here,
shot.
you get Hammond's monologue. I'm not sure how the movie is expecting me to take Hammond at this point.
Right. Genuinely, I don't know how they, like, if this is entirely CG. I think this effect of this pterodactyl is really cool.
It looks really good.
I think it is
I've always
all
loved this
CGI, this entire shot.
But it's just hilarious we did nothing with them. It's like, oh, by the way, there's pterodactyls. And moves over.
Well, that was the big promise, was, okay, if we ever get to 3, which of course Spielberg doesn't direct, we'll do the pterodactyls in that one, and then it's a completely different thing.
Then they did.
But that's fine.
Austin, my subtitle, right at the end of this, when we get into the credits and the fanfare, was magical instrumental music.
Oh,
It's
you know how we
magical.
fixed Jurassic Park? Do Jurassic Park versus Westworld, but like the Michael Crichton movie, not the TV show,
Yeah.
where it's Jurassic Park with robots.
Yeah.
You
That'd
have
be
a park
great.
where it's animatronics and dinosaurs and they fight.
Solution to everything is just robots.
Right, and then
Tell me that's not a better movie when you have the mecha T-Rex fighting the T-Rex.
No, that's great. And then the idea you make it a typical like sci-fi AI, like the AI comes to life and like takes over and develops real human emotion, and like that's how life found a way this time.
Well, Cap, you have like AI like comes to life and it's like, you know, we're gonna take it down, and life itself is fighting back. It's like, no, you are not real life. We are going to destroy you.
That's great.
This is a smart idea. This is a thematically deep movie I've come up with.
Right, and you make
Scream
it
3 all over again.
you have them originally developed by Mr. Arnold, who starts with his robot arm technology and then develops it to dinosaurs, and then it's him on one side versus Henry Wu on the other side, and that whole battle is really just those two intellects against each other.
The meta thing though would be you have the CGI dinosaurs that are the real ones, and you have the animatronic dinosaurs that are the animatronics.
Dan's Den said that the monologue at the end was read by Malcolm in the book. That's interesting.
Well,
That makes sense
because he says like.
But then Malcolm's also dead, so they could have retconned Hammond being alive too.
Honestly,
I was gonna say that makes sense. Hammond's dead, but no, I guess so.
Okay, but it would have been a lot more insane if they retconned Hammond being alive. I mean, it's nuts that Malcolm is. It makes no sense, but like that would have been even crazier.
He was in a coma.
He was a Westworld animatronic.
So I was looking for a comment I wanted to read earlier, and I'm having a hard time finding it. I can't remember if it was the BTS guy or who said it, but somebody made a good point. And they said in the first movie, when Grant, we were talking about how smart Grant is, and somebody in the comments was like, when Grant is surprised that they're breeding raptors, what kind of dinosaur did he think he was holding with that egg? Like, if he's a dinosaur scientist, like how can he not tell looking at that it's a raptor? That's maybe a fair criticism.
Well, we could have thought it was like a triceratops or something.
And well, that BTS guy also said, if a pterodactyl flies away from the island, don't worry, it's one of the good pterodactyls. It's engineered to not harm humans, which is really funny because the end of Jurassic Park 3 is the pterodactyls flying away, and they play it like it's a beautiful.
That's the best part of 3, yeah.
It's like, they're finding a new home, and it's like, no, they're monsters. They just kill. They're trying to kill these people.
They're literally evil.
They tried to feed the kid to baby pterodactyls.
They came at people on a bridge on their elbows. Like, it was scary.
Exactly.
Okay, so...
They came out of the fog, too.
Oh, yeah!
It's the fog.
Like monsters. So, Robert, you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say, if a pterodactyl flies off the island and no one is there to see it.
Didn't fly out. You know how a normal pterodactyl flies away?
That movie should have ended with then Grant opens the door, gets on a turret, and shoots them down.
Well, and again, I think Danzen's right, though. He says in the first film he was alarmed when he held the baby raptor, and when he... This is my interpretation. When he asks what species is this, I think he knows or suspects that he's holding a raptor, but he's not like 100% sure, because I mean, it's a little baby. So, I actually don't think it's...
I always read that more as like, he just didn't believe that they would be so dumb. Like, you've read a raptor? Are you insane?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, that is what it is. Yeah,
but what the commenter was saying, I think, is he should have taken one look at that before anybody said it was a raptor and go, you're breeding raptors? Like, it's that somebody had to explain to him that that's what it was.
I do agree with Robert. I do think it is supposed to be like, because he is like a, wait a minute, like, what is this? I do think it is supposed to be like a suspicious, like, he knows what it is, but he's getting confirmation.
Oh, okay, maybe so. Well, we're nitpicking that for no good reason.
We're nitpicking a good movie, not the bad one we just finished.
We did a lot of that though. It's okay. It's okay.
That's okay. Equal opportunities bashers is what we are.
John Kelling says the Diet Hammond and Coke Zero Hammond implication is that Hammond himself is either original Coke or Pepsi.
Well, I mean, Pepsi, he's Coke.
I mean, he was a visionary. He just went too far with the science, you know.
Mm-hmm. But according to Fallen Kingdom, maybe the other guy was Coke and Hammond's Pepsi.
No, because he's Coke Zero.
I will not stand
for Coke Zero Hammond.
I will not stand for that movie being referred to by its real name.
I just call it the fifth one. I avoid Cap's wrath.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're not gonna avoid it for long.
That and I just hate saying Jurassic World.
Hey, John, did you enjoy watching the dinosaurs?
I did. Like, it's a flawed movie, but I don't think it's a bad one. It's just flawed. It's fine.
And for me, it flew by. Like I just don't find
Yeah.
it boring. Like
It
you
flew
guys
by
do.
because we had a panel of 4.
Even talking about it, I thought it was long.
Yeah, somebody earlier said the director's cut, or that longer cut of Dominion, feels like it's 12 hours long. I thought the theatrical version felt like it was 12 hours long.
And I've only seen the extended cut of that movie. I can't confirm it feels like a 12-hour movie.
The extended cut's like the only one to watch because it actually has dinosaurs in it.
It has the T-Rex character arc.
You gotta love
Exactly,
how
it
they
is
cut out
the
all
best part.
You gotta love how they cut out all the dinosaurs. So they finally made a movie where Ian Malcolm could say, "You're gonna have dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie," or like that's amazing. Like we've applied that quote to so many things, and you finally can apply it to Jurassic Park.
And like Austin was saying earlier, that was a story I didn't know until recently just how messy of a production Dominion was. Like those insane Dilophosaurus animatronics that they built that then broke.
And they're
like they
so
spent
cool.
so
Like,
much money on those.
when you see the original ones, they are really cool. And then it's like,
Mhm.
oh,
You just get a hand puppet.
you just get a hand puppet. It's like, and then Chris Pratt joke. Chris Pratt, he probably his other hand is the Dilophosaurus.
Robert,
And also like
with respect, you can't tell how messy that the production is just watching the film.
well sure, because it's awful. It was more
It's a
just
Colin
baffling.
Trevorrow movie.
It's not
Like,
just
it
that
also
it's,
just sucked.
it's not just that it's awful. Like it's so insanely all over the place. It feels like 19 different. It's like this, but everywhere.
Yeah, but it also, at least at the time, seemed like this is his vision, which is insane and all over the place. So I didn't know what to make.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't have
I
that.
That was
thought it
what I always
baffling.
had. Like, I just don't have respect for Colin Trevorrow. So
Okay.
it's like, oh, this is just his vision.
See, I
And
didn't-
it's the way he was talking about it. In my defense, it's
I
all the interviews leading up to it
I
were
didn't
like,
look at
oh,
any
I
of that, so I
Yeah.
don't know about that. But like, it didn't watch like one person's vision. It watched like too many cooks in the kitchen to me.
I'll also
I-
give
I
him
just didn't
credit
know what
that
to
he
make.
did fall on the sword for that movie, and I will give him credit for that. Like, there is stuff where people are like, "Oh, the locust thing is stupid," and he was like, "Yeah, I took a swing, and it didn't work." Like, I can respect that.
And Fallen Kingdom is just his script, and I think that movie's insane and all over the place.
It is.
Yeah,
I was just actually
they're-
entertained by it. That's the difference.
Yeah,
But
also
they both have that, so it's like I
Yeah.
had no reason to assume that wasn't just Colin Trevorrow's
And-
writing.
And in the lead up to Dominion, though, all the interviews with him, I didn't have the sense that it was like a messy and difficult production, because he was talking about it like, because he was fired from episode 9 and was like, oh, I didn't get to do my trilogy closer with Star Wars, but now I get to do it with Jurassic World, and I'm making the most of it and really passionate about this. So when the movie came out, I was just like, yeah, that's his vision. It's insane, but I think in recent years, we've just learned more about how chaotic it was. And he talked about like, oh, we're gonna combine like our cast with the old cast, and it's gonna be great. What the movie we got's just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And none
Well,
of
Cap,
them feel
'cause
like the same
I-
characters at all.
I had no thoughts about this until like now when I've realized that you've only seen the theatrical cut. So you don't even know about the T-Rex thing, which is the greatest thing.
No, I don't.
So at the beginning of that movie, Cap, in the extended cut, there's an entire sequence in like when the dinosaurs were actually alive.
It's
And
the
we get-
IMAX teaser that people show.
Yeah, they did that, yeah. And the T-Rex gets killed by the Jokersaurus that's like the villain of that movie. And then at the end of the movie, when the Jokersaurus is, like going wild and the T-Rex comes in to save the day, it kills the T-Rex again. And that T-Rex from the beginning of the movie was the T-Rex from Jurassic Park that it got the DNA from. So that's how it originally died.
I have heard about this, but I didn't realize the black cut. Okay.
And the T-Rex falls onto the ground and it flashes back to its original life where the background changes.
No way.
Yes. And it flashes back and it remembers its original death. And then that gives it the strength to get back up and be like, no, this time I'm going to survive. And then it gets back up and it kills the Jokersaurus. That is the character arc of the T-Rex in that film.
Yep.
We'll see.
It is like the most stupid thing in all of these movies, and I kind of love that.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Is that so boring.
That's what I was looking for from that movie when I was excited about a sequel to Jurassic House. Like, I was looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I don't want to have to sit through that movie to see it, though.
And I think because
YouTube, I'm sure there's.
I think because of that, the theatrical cut, I assume, doesn't have that beginning, but it would still have that second where it flashes to the.
No, it doesn't have.
It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't have that at all.
No.
Okay, I just assumed it still had that shot. Okay,
yeah, it's
I
just
assumed
the fight.
They had that shot.
Do that bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
in
I was
the
shocked when
theatrical
you said
cut.
that. That's not there.
Yeah, and that was the thing Trevor was talking about. Like, yeah, we got a new dinosaur. It's like the Joker. It's evil and sadistic. And you watch the movie and you're like, A, what? And B, that's not in the movie.
Even in the extended cut, it's not like the Joker. I still have no idea what he's talking about.
But they also talk about the Indoraptor like it's that.
That's at least more like it, because it's like Freddy.
It does smile.
As a T-Rex, yeah, like that at least has more of that.
Well, they basically talk about it like they bred all the humanity out of it, and I'm like, they're dinosaurs. What the hell are you talking about? It's like, oh, these dinosaurs have no empathy. I'm like, they're dinosaurs. What are you talking about?
But that one's like Freddy Krueger. Like it's all like, ooh, like it's like I can see it more. The other one's just
it smiles. It smiles and winks at the camera before it kills Buffalo Bill.
Jokersaurus doesn't even do that.
Yeah.
He doesn't even smile.
And what Cap alluded to earlier, though, my favorite thing to make fun of with that movie is that you have 27 characters on the helicopter at the end who survive. Like, we don't kill anybody in that movie.
They also get into the helicopter, fly away, and then the end fight happens. Like, none of the characters are even there anymore.
Isn't this a great franchise?
Anyway,
you know what? I kind of love Dominion the more than we talk about it.
We're getting so ahead
The
of
extended
ourselves.
cut specifically.
The extended cut, yeah, exactly.
So someday we'll watch the rest of this nonsense. Maybe there will not be 3 years in between. We'll see. We'll have John.
We
here
can
just
we
to
can
go,
do
"Yay,
3
dinosaurs!"
right away.
Three's, I don't mind 3. It's fun.
Well, I know, but
We
I
can
might
do 3
forget
right
about it.
away, and then we can
Jurassic
wait on the
Park.
rest.
I'm sorry, what, John?
It's the Jurassic Park 3 is the second best sequel to Jurassic Park.
Maybe if you got hit in the head with a rock.
John, I don't know if we'll invite Austin back to the rest of these, but
you can't throw me out for 3. Ooh.
you're gonna have to behave yourself, man. John may never come back.
So, Cap, do you?
We've only had him for
this-
2 videos on the channel, so like.
Exactly. I don't even think I was on his first video, so this is the first time I'm meeting him.
I'm sorry. What was that, Robert? And then we've got to wrap up here.
Yeah, Cap, do you enjoy 3 as much as we do, or do you just dislike it?
No, I don't dislike it. I just
I'm not sure.
I think it's just fine, and I stand by it. Needed another 15 or 20 minutes. I was really disappointed in the theater, where I was like, what we got was fine, but like that's it, really.
Well, yeah, I agree. It should be longer if it was like a real movie, but as is, I'm with Austin. It gets it out.
Yeah, and I mean, I would also take no sequels to Jurassic Park over Jurassic Park 3, but overall, what we have, like, it is the good sequel.
Yeah, it's just
it's
that,
fun.
that initial experience
a
I
good
had with it
sequel.
really stuck with me. Where it was kind of disappointing. It felt like, you know what it felt like? It felt like a direct-to-video movie with a good production value.
That's 100% what it has. It's
Well, it has-
absolutely a straight.
It has like
DVD
the
sequel.
exact same production that like Terminator 3 has, where they just don't have a finished script but are putting so much money into it while they're making it.
But
Well,
that
I think
movie
Joe
has
Johnston
a great
was
ending,
like,
and I wish Jurassic Park 3 had that, because that's like it's like a weird kind of slog, and then you get to the end, and I'm like, oh, the whole point of this was just this ending, and then
Terminator 3 has a great ending. Yeah.
weirdly, I like it more than I ought to, just because it sticks a landing without ever putting the airplane in the air. I mean, it's weird.
But then Jurassic Park 3 gets in the plane and just drives down to White Castle, and they all get a burger. Like, sure, it didn't take flight, so it did not have a landing, but like it got where it needed to go, and it came back, and it worked out.
No, that's true. But like, I don't know. I have a hard time, and I've only gone back to that maybe twice, and I have a hard time not just putting myself back in the time and place when it came out. Like I took my sister to see that movie, and she and I were both walking out going like, "Oh, that was a little lame." And also, I almost got in a gigantic car crash on my way to that movie. I remember that.
Oh my god.
Oof. You should
Like,
have gotten in that plane that drove there.
Yeah, there was an intersection with a stoplight that changed, and I wasn't expecting it, and I very nearly plowed into the car ahead of me, and like inches away, and like I was a new driver, and I wasn't a great driver, and like that wouldn't happen now, but like this was, when did that come out? Like 02, 01?
01.
Okay, so I mean, like
yeah.
that was probably weeks after I got my first car, and I was like 16, and I nearly hit this car, and so I remember just thinking about that the whole movie.
God was just trying to stop you from seeing Jurassic Park 3.
No,
Yeah,
God
don't do
saved him. God was like, no, put his hand there. He was like, you must see Jurassic Park 3. If the greatest shot in the Jurassic Park franchise is the T-Rex with the doghouse hanging out of its mouth, the second best shot in the Jurassic Park franchise is in 3, when they're like next to the fence and the phone starts ringing, and they're like, oh, like, wait a minute, who had the phone? Oh, the guy who got eaten had the phone. And then they look over, and the Spinosaurus is just standing there, like, and you can hear the ringtone perfectly. It's beautiful.
Yeah, BTS, the story being a simple rescue mission doesn't help Jurassic Park 3 fight off the direct-to-video comparisons. Yeah, that's what I always had with it. Well, let's not talk too much about that, because we'll do a commentary on it eventually. I don't know if we should, I mean, I'm not saying I won't invite you guys all back, but I don't know if we want a 4-man commentary for that movie. It's not long enough.
It's okay, we just won't invite Austin.
Oh, right. Problem solved.
Yeah.
We will
Whatever.
ask
The world
Austin
movies.
to pre-record himself saying Alan, and we'll just open with that, and then that's all he gets.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'll
and
do
then
it in the
he
Raptor
can do
mask.
all 3
Alan.
world movies by himself.
Oh, it's just so it's the 3 of you for 3, and then just me for all 3 world movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm not watching those again.
But I mean, like, not even Cap. Like, it's just me doing the world trilogies. Do the trilogy.
I'm not
World
gonna
trilogies.
I'm
How
not
many
gonna not
trilogies
show
are
up
there,
for
Austin?
Jurassic House.
We could have another trilogy. We have the first of one.
Can it please be like the later Terminator movies, where each one is just the start of a trilogy, but they never finish it?
It won't happen because these all make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
Okay,
will
I
be
gotta,
a full trilogy.
guys, I gotta get going. But thanks for watching, everybody. We sure appreciate it. We'll be back with lots more fun geeky stuff next week on Geekvolution. Appreciate all 3 of you guys coming in for this one. We had to make this a monumentous occasion for no reason. But we did it
Because
anyway.
it's 28 years later from the original release.
We're watching the best Jurassic Park sequel.
It's a
Had to make a big
nice
deal.
round number. John, you have a singular ability to turn Austin into a cat hawking up a hairball. I've always been impressed with your ability to achieve that.
What do you mean always? He's been on like one show.
Exactly. I don't even know this man.
Well, yeah, off camera, I watched.
I thought you
it's
just brought in
uncanny.
the actor that played that the redneck guy because he also had like a big beard.
Wow. John has only had two noticeable appearances in film: The Lost World and Twister.
Both movies that I like a lot.
Only because you're in them. Like, you have this massive bias.
Yeah.
He's still getting royalties. Like, it pays his bills. That's why he likes them. Well, guys, thanks for being here. And we'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan, and we had Austin the Day Ghost, and we had
See
Robert,
ya, everybody.
and we had John. I love Dinosaur Sandoval. Good night, everybody.
That's awesome.
Bye, folks.
Yeah.